Chapter 375. I really don't know what kind of person left behind this stone pagoda. The inheritances here are incredible. If there are really 108 of them, then there are truly a set of inheritances left behind by a powerhouse. Although they don't have any supernatural powers or secret techniques, they do have cultivation methods that guide one's cultivation. The other stone pagodas are also worth exploring. I came from an unorthodox background, so I can use these stone pagodas to correct my shortcomings and correct some of my wrong paths. Su Yin thought to himself. Just a single stone pagoda had nearly refined Su Yin to death. Then, what kind of test did the other stone pagodas have? Could it be that the 108 stone pagodas were proficient in all areas of cultivation? If that was really the case, then these stone pagodas were simply too astonishing. Even the 108 stone pagodas were just the beginning. Was the ultimate goal in the chaos ruins? This caused Su Yin to feel fear. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that these stone pagodas had a great origin. Just what kind of existence left behind these stone pagodas? Even some old antiques found it hard to say. This was because no one had ever dug out all the secrets of these stone pagodas. It's time to go. Su Yan's harvest was bountiful. Not only had he dug out all the wounds in his body, but he had even formed a higher cultivation path. As long as he continued, he would be able to step out ahead of time. After leaving the stone pagoda, Su Yin looked around. His complexion was a bit strange. This must be little friend Xia, right? A group of old fellows ran over with red eyes. It was as if they had eaten an aphrodisiac. They grabbed onto Su Yin and didn't let go. They kept saying good things about him. There were even some old powerhouses who brought their beloved daughters and introduced them to Su Yin. I say, don't touch me. Can we talk things out? Su Yin felt a chill run down his spine. Had these old fellows gone crazy? Little friend, come and take a look. This is my precious granddaughter. What do you think? She is a natural beauty with fair skin. She is the #1 beauty on our planet. She is even an outstanding disciple of the Pill Domain and a 6th grade Danzo master. Her suitors can line up all the way to the outer realms. How many people can compare to her? What do you think, little friend Xia? An old powerhouse named Liang smiled warmly and kept praising his granddaughter. At the same time, he held onto Su Yan's hand. His other hand was holding onto an extraordinary woman. She was dignified and beautiful, was elegant and refined, and she was like a lady from a respectable family. It's Liang Yan, an alchemy genius. The surrounding men were indignant, and their eyes were all fixed on Liang Yan. She was very famous in the nearby Star Domain and had many suitors. Her gentle, elegant, dignified, and beautiful appearance was enough to tempt many men. She was even a grade 6 alchemist with extraordinary achievements in the field of alchemy. It was said that she was good friend with Fairy Ling Yun of the Pill Domain. My dear granddaughter, little friend Xia Kunlun is the disciple of a supreme being. He has even obtained the stone pagoda's mark. He will definitely be an influential figure in the universe in the future. Liang Liang's words surprised Liang Yan. Not everyone could obtain the stone pagoda's mark. Only the strongest of a younger generation could obtain the stone pagoda's recognition. Moreover, Su Yin had stayed in the stone pagoda for 10 days. They seriously suspected that Su Yin had passed the stone pagoda's test. They valued such potential. Even if he didn't have the identity of a supreme being's disciple, his potential alone was enough for them to rope him in. I say, old man Liang, I think your granddaughter is too proud to be willing. Hurry up and leave. Another old man with a ruddy face walked over and laughed. Brother Xia, my granddaughter isn't any worse than her. When are you free to come over? Su Yin was speechless. His face darkened when he saw Iron Rooster covering his mouth with his wings and laughing treacherously. Iron Rooster was using the tiger's skin as a coat. He had established a relationship with the experts of the major clans and called them brothers. He also said that he would bring back a few ladies from the major clans. They might even be accepted as disciples by the Supreme Being. This group of old fellows seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They held on to Su Yin and refused to let go. Brother Xia, do you need help? Saintess Zi Wei transmitted her voice. Her temperament was pure and noble, and her eyes were rippling like water. She was transmitting her voice to Su Yan. She was paying more and more attention to Su Yan. His potential was shocking enough to be able to obtain the stone pagoda's imprint. Su Yan had stayed inside for 10 whole days. Across the entire universe, geniuses who could do so were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Junior sister, you might as well say that you've taken a fancy to me. These old fellows will definitely turn around and leave. Su Yan transmitted his voice. Brother Xia, you really know how to joke. Do I look that frivolous? Saintess Zi Wei transmitted her voice and smiled. However, there's a woman in my sect who is even more outstanding than me. She has the sacred body of Lunar. With Brother Xia's elegance, I believe that she will submit to you. Although she has a close relationship with a man, I believe that with Brother Xia's potential, she will definitely submit to you. After all, Great Elder Meng Ying has high hopes for you. He even asked me to stay here to entertain you. Isn't the sacred body of Lunar the strongest body in the sect of Zi Wei? How can she marry someone else? Su Yan transmitted his voice without batting an eyelid. He also wanted to know more about Yi Si Yun's current situation. That will depend on Brother Xia's ability. Saintess Zi Wei bewitched him. There are countless young overlords in the world who want to marry my saintess sister. Brother Xia, I feel like old friends at first sight. I really hope that you will stand out among them. Su Yan sneered in his heart. Was this Saintess Zi Wei targeting him? Or was she targeting Yi Si Yun? After all, she was now a powerful saintess. She probably didn't want her status to be taken away. Rumble. At this time, wave after wave of muffled explosions resounded, shaking the Great Plains. Liang and the other old masters were shocked. They looked up into the starry sky and saw black battleships streaking across the starry sky like giant demonic clouds. The Ancestral Hall's battleships. Su Yan clenched his fist slightly. He stared at the battleships passing by. There were more than a dozen battleships. Because they were moving too fast, they had already disappeared without a trace. Did something big happen? Why did the Ancestral Hall send so many battleships? Could it be that they are chasing after enemies like the Big Dipper constellation? I heard that the Ancestral Hall suffered heavy losses in the Big Dipper constellation. I wonder where this Su Yan came from. I heard that he has a terrifying forbidden treasure and killed many of the Ancestral Hall's overlords. To be able to survive in the demonic fog forbidden zone, he must be extraordinary. In recent years, many heroes have risen in the universe. The younger generation has shown their talents. I'm afraid their era is coming soon. The older generation nodded. In the next 10 days, a group of great Tao realm cultivators would emerge from the younger generation. They might even be recognized by the constellation mark. Su Yan wanted to follow and take a look. Unfortunately, the Ancestral Hall's battleships were too fast. They had already disappeared into the starry sky. He didn't know what they were going to do. Daoist Brother Xia, this person called Su Yan that they mentioned just now, has an extraordinary relationship with my saintess sister. Saintess Zi Wei smiled and said, according to what I know, my saintess sister is about to come out of seclusion. I'm looking forward to seeing how strong the great moon saint body is after evolving to the supreme body. I'm also looking forward to it. When the time comes, junior sister will have to introduce me to her. Su Yan also wanted to meet with Bao Kai and even Yi Si Yun as soon as possible. After all, the origins of Earth were too shocking. They definitely couldn't leak out any information. Moreover, they were all from the burial realm. At this moment, another battleship crossed the vast starry sky and arrived. This battleship was purple in color. It was hazy with auspicious clouds and dazzling brilliance. All kinds of heavenly marks of the great Tao were engraved on the body of the battleship. Its defensive power was astonishing. Moreover, its speed was extraordinarily fast as it sailed toward the Great Plains. When it landed, it was like a giant battleship. It was extremely shocking. This kind of battleship was too expensive. It was even more shocking than the dozen or so battleships that had just passed by the Ancestral Hall. It's the Cosmos Business Alliance's battleship. Someone recognized it. Moreover, They saw people from the Cosmos Business Alliance rushing forward to welcome it. That old thing is still alive. A wisp of killing intent rose in Su Yan's heart. He definitely didn't expect her to still be alive. Saint Zi Wei is also here. Zi Xuansu chuckled with a kind smile. Her attitude towards Su Yan was completely different from when she was in the Cosmos Business Alliance. Greetings, Senior. Saint Zi Wei walked over with a smile and said, I heard that Senior was injured some time ago. Are you all right now? It said that the Cosmos Business Alliance issued a kill order. Is that true? Hearing this, Zi Xuansu's eyes flashed with coldness. She said coldly, I'm fine. I just don't know where that bastard Su Yan is hiding. There was fury and murderous intent in her eyes. She had suffered a great loss in the Big Dipper constellation. She had thought that she would be able to smoothly take away her clan's treasures, but she had never thought that Zi Xiaoning would suddenly come and seal her up. Even Supreme Elder Zi Tai had been beaten up by Fairy Beidou. How could she forget such humiliation so easily? I won't hide it from you, Saintess. A young disciple of the Zi clan walked over with a powerful aura. Every move he made emitted a powerful aura. His name was Zi Changping, and he was an elite of the younger generation of the Zi clan. He said coldly, Su Yan stole our clan's treasure and secretly learned our clan's great divine ability. Our Zi clan will definitely not let this matter rest. There was a commotion. Liang more or less knew about this matter. He said in shock, Who is this Su Yan? He offended the ancestral palace and stole the Zi family's supreme treasure. Young people nowadays are really something. Newborn calves are really fearless. Su Yan's heart was boiling with anger. The Zi family was really shameless. They clearly wanted to steal his treasure, but now they were saying that he stole their family's treasure. He risked his life to deliver the treasure, but now he was treated like this. If it wasn't for Zi Xiaoning, he didn't know if he would still be standing here and talking. At the same time, he paid more attention to the origin of the broken cauldron. I heard that Sister Xiaoning was also punished. Saintess Zi Wei asked again. I didn't expect Saintess to know so much about our Zi family. Zi Changping looked at her with admiration in his eyes. He then sneered and said, As for Zi Xiaoning, she is a woman after all. She's just a flower vase. If it wasn't for the patriarch's love, just her protecting Su Yan is already a serious crime. Su Yan stole our family's supreme treasure. If the Big Dipper lineage doesn't expel Su Yan, our Zi family will definitely pay them a visit. The people around didn't doubt the Zi family's power. They were curious about what kind of treasure would make the Zi family go to war. After all, Bamboo Moon beat up Zi Tai. This matter was very serious. The patriarch of the Zi family was also very angry. The inheritance of the mysterious bone book was lost. At this time, how could they just let it go? Moreover, the broken cauldron that opened the mysterious bone book was very important to some patriarchs. Just a stray dog, let's not talk about him. Zi Xuansu looked around and said, I wonder which one of you is Xia Kunlun. Everyone looked at Su Yan. Saintess Zi Wei introduced, This is Brother Xia. He just got the stone pagoda imprint. Hearing this, Zi Xuansu's heart trembled, and the smile on her old face became even brighter. She praised, Little friend Xia is truly a dragon among men, as expected of the disciple of a powerful being. I've heard a lot about you, and have specially come to invite you to participate in the auction that our Universe Commerce Alliance is holding in Ziwei City. Liang thought that Su Yan would participate in the auction. Who knew that Su Yan would talk to Liang Yan intermittently, as if he didn't hear Zi Xuansu's words. This made Liang happy. This Xia Kunlun wouldn't be interested in his granddaughter, would he? Liang Yan was gentle, and her expression was a little shy. After all, after what Liang said, she was a little embarrassed and wanted to run away immediately. Zi Xuansu's face was a little stiff. She came to invite him personally, but Xia Kunlun didn't give her any face and didn't even reply. Su Yan wanted to stomp on her face and leave her no face at all. I'll talk. Zi Qingping's heart was filled with anger. He strode forward and shouted, My clan elder is talking to you, didn't you? Su Yan's eyes looked over. There was a faint pressure in his pupils that made Zi Chengping's heart tremble. It was as if he was being stared at by a ferocious beast. Goosebumps rose all over his body, and he froze for a moment. Nothing? Su Yin berated. His words were like a sudden clap of thunder that exploded in Zi Chengping's ears. Zi Chengping was shocked and said fearfully, "It's nothing." The clan elders said that there will be worldly prime liquid at the auction. Brother Xia will definitely be interested. Liang Liang's expression was very interesting. He felt that this Su Yin was really powerful. One sentence from him was enough to subdue Zi Chengping and make him obedient. Zi Xuanzu's face was ugly. After all, he was a junior under her sect. He was actually frightened by Su Yin. Worldly prime liquid? Why does it sound so familiar? Su Yin touched his nose and smiled at Liang Yan. "Sister Yan, do you know what worldly prime liquid is?" Liang Yan was shocked by Su Yan's intimate way of addressing her. A bright red blush appeared on her cheeks. Her gentle and lovely appearance attracted the attention of the surrounding people. "Junior brother, have you forgotten?" Chapter 376. Cheapskate's words reverberated in the air, and all the old cultivators froze, dumbfounded. What kind of treasure was the worldly prime liquid? It was a rare liquid formed from the essence of the world, and it was extremely valuable. Even for the top forces, it was a limited resource, and there was a limit to how much it could be distributed to the clansmen. This kind of resource was very difficult to mass produce. It could only be extracted from peerless treasured lands, and there were very few of them. Moreover, the risk of extracting this kind of raw liquid was very high. They needed to travel through the vast universe in the dark, searching for treasured lands. The worldly prime liquid had amazing effects on the physical body. It was the essence of the world, and it could be said that it was cultivated by nature. Not only could it replenish one's blood essence, but it could also nourish one's body and even improve one's body potential. In short, it was too valuable, and all the top forces would use it to cultivate their best disciples. Even with Zi Chengping's identity, he had never tasted it, but Cheapskate said it was used to wash his feet. He almost vomited. Zi Xuanzu's expression was also a bit ugly. This worldly prime liquid only appeared in the most prestigious auctions, but it was used to wash his feet? Wasn't he afraid of being beaten to death if he said it? Everyone was stunned. Cheapskate knew that he had bragged too much, so he calmed himself down and said, "If there's saintly prime liquid, it's worth a trip and we can buy it." Liang Liang's legs went soft, and he exclaimed in shock, "Saintly prime liquid? I've never seen such a treasure before. Why would an auction put it up for sale?" Zi Xuanzu's expression kept changing. Even a top force like the Ancestral Hall wouldn't put it up for auction, let alone an auction. This kind of thing was used by the top forces to cultivate their best disciples. Saintly prime liquid was extremely valuable, and even Zi Xuanzu had never seen it before. "You must be joking." Saintess Zi Wei walked over and said with a smile, "Saint-grade raw liquid is a priceless treasure. It can easily take up to 1,000,000 years to grow. Its value is equal to that of a top saint herb. Even the time it takes for a saint herb to mature is incomparable to saint-grade raw liquid. Could it be that this thing is even more precious than sacred medicine?" Someone asked. "It's hard to say. It depends on who buys it. To the strong in the universe, it doesn't have much effect, but to the younger generation, it's a priceless treasure. It's worth spending all your wealth to buy it." Saint Zi Wei was graceful and holy. She chuckled and said, "The worldly origin serum is suitable for the body and can improve one's aptitude. Its value is only slightly lower than the extreme yang fish. As for the saint origin serum, it is the saint origin serum. It is very precious and will not appear in an auction." After saying this, Saint Zi Wei said with some regret, "Back then, I came across a treasure land that nurtured the extreme yin fish and the extreme yang fish. Unfortunately, I failed to obtain it." Sigh. What? The saintess had seen the yin-yang fish? I don't even know what such a miraculous item looks like. Liang Liang, the expert who came, widened his eyes. He took a deep breath and said, "There are many wondrous items in the world, but they are too rare. Every one of them is very impressive and has extremely shocking effects. I don't know when I will be able to see all of them. Iron Rooster became spirited. It's just the extreme Een fish and the extreme Yang fish. They're not that valuable, right? If you have them, why don't you show them to me? Zixuanzu was very unhappy. Who was the richest person in the universe? Of course, it was the Cosmos Business Alliance. Zixuanzu had seen countless treasures and was very knowledgeable. Only some of the rarer items were too rare. Junior brother, Miser Rooster looked at Zixuanzu from the corner of his eyes and said arrogantly, "Take out a few and show her." "I don't have any. I've never heard of the extreme Een fish and the extreme Yang fish." Su Yan's head was like a rattle drum. "Don't talk nonsense." Zixuanzu immediately retorted, "Wash your feet with the worldly origin serum? Who would believe it? Fellow Taoist, are you joking with us? You're ignorant, aren't you?" Iron Rooster was very confident and shouted, "Junior brother, don't think I don't know. Before you left, you caught a few fish in Master's fish pond. Show them to her." "What can these fish have?" Su Yan was stunned. He looked as if he did not understand. He waved his sleeves, and two big live fishes instantly jumped out. They swished their tails and were very lively. Yin Yang fish. Zixuanzu was shocked. She could not help but emit a terrifying aura from her body. She was about to reach out and grab the Yin Yang fish. You can't change a dog's habit. Su Yan's eyes were wide open. His aura was turbulent. His flesh shook, and waves of ferocious aura swept across the sky. At this moment, the Great Plains were shaken and almost sank. The aura awakened in Su Yan's body was majestic and peerless. It filled the entire place like an ancient god standing there, overlooking the universe. Zixuanzu almost vomited blood. She was so angry by Su Yan's words that she almost exploded. However, the aura from Su Yan's body made Zixuanzu's body tremble. She felt like her body and mind were going to explode. "You old thing!" Iron Rooster shouted angrily. "How dare you steal my junior brother's treasure? It's just two fish. You're crazy." "Fellow Taoists, please calm down." Saintess Zi Wei quickly stood up and said, "Senior Zixuanzu just lost control for a moment. She definitely did not mean any harm. The Yin Yang fish is too important. Even I almost lost my mind." Zixuanzu's expression was very ugly. Being scolded by Su Yan, her anger could not be quelled. However, she was afraid of Su Yan's identity and did not want to provoke Xia Kunlun. He could take out the Yin Yang fish so casually. His background was clear. The surrounding people were also quiet. The older generation felt that Xia Kunlun was too arrogant. He even dared to insult Zixuanzu. "Fellow Taoist, are you selling the Yin Yang fish?" Saintess Ziwei smiled and walked over. She was holy and beautiful and said softly, "I'm willing to pay a high price for it. Isn't it just two fish?" Su Yan said indifferently, "There are countless fish in Master's Pond. There are also two fish kings. They are as big as two mountains. If I had known, I would have caught them too." "Junior brother, those two fish kings are too strong. You can't suppress them." Iron Rooster scolded. "Don't even think about Master's treasure. They're fish kings. They have lived for hundreds of thousands of years and can lay eggs. Otherwise, where'd you get the fish soup you drink every day?" The surrounding people were doubting their lives. Why did they feel like country bumpkins? Damn, fish kings? Drinking fish soup every day? I'm buying with sincerity. Saintess Zi Wei said flirtatiously. Her eyes were shining, and her snow-white skin flowed with auspicious light. She was like a dazzling pearl with a holy aura. "Haha, Brother Xia, I want to buy it too." "Yes, Brother Xia. How much are these Yin fish?" Liang and the others breathed heavily. Their eyes were red to the point of turning purple. Normally, extreme Yin fish and extreme Yang fish were hard to come by, but now that a pair of rare treasures was placed in front of them, they were all excited. "How much do you want?" Liang Yan asked softly. She wore a white dress and had an elegant temperament. She said, "I want to make a cauldron of Yin Yang pills." "Brother Xia, I asked first." Saintess Zi Wei said immediately. She seemed to want it very much. Sigh. I should have stolen a few more. Su Yin looked at the expressions of the people around him and said, Look, all of you want it. These 2 fish are not enough. Why don't we put this pair of yin-yang fish up for auction? You. Su Yin glared at Zi Xuansu and scolded. Isn't the Cosmos Business Alliance holding an auction? Can I bid on my yin-yang fish? Yes. Zi Xuansu endured the humiliation. She put down her pride and walked up. She forced a stiff smile and said, We can definitely bid. Don't worry, Brother Xia. The price will definitely satisfy you, very satisfied. After all, it was the legendary yin-yang fish. Such a rare and wondrous item. If thrown into the Universe Commerce Alliance, it would definitely cause quite a stir. How could Zi Xuansu just watch the yin-yang fish fly away? She said very enthusiastically, The auction is about to begin. Why don't we head directly to Ziwei City? Sure. Su Yin laughed and said, Let's go together. I want to see it too. Junior brother, don't mess up the important matters. Master asked us to visit an old friend on his behalf. We can't stay in the Ziwei segmentum for more than a month. If we delay the important matters, Master will not forgive you. Zi Xuansu's opinion of Su Yin rose again after hearing Miser's words. An old friend of an almighty was definitely not an ordinary expert. Let's go together. We can participate in the auction. Zi Xuansu called the nearby experts into the battleship. These old fellows also wanted to join in the fun. Hey! Liang Yan followed closely behind Su Yin. A white hand reached out from her sleeve and tugged at Su Yin. She walked up and asked embarrassedly, That worldly source serum, are you really using it to wash your feet? Su Yin looked at her, his eyes like a big bad wolf looking at a little white rabbit. He laughed. Why, Sister Yan, do you want to wash your feet too? Do you want me to wash them for you personally? Liang Yan's heart skipped a beat. She was like a little white rabbit being pushed to the ground by a tiger. Her breathing quickened, and her face flushed with shame and anger. She said, What nonsense are you talking about? I want to buy some to refine some pills. I'll give you a basin. It's enough for a bath. Really? Su Yan's words made Liang Yan angry and happy. Her eyes lit up, and she quickly looked up. But when she saw Su Yin entering the battleship, she stomped her feet and said angrily, Liar! This purple battleship was not small, and the decorations were very luxurious. It was Su Yan's first time on a battleship, and he couldn't help but be shocked. He estimated that the value of this battleship was no less than 5,000 kilograms of heavenly essence stones. This was the battleship used by the Cosmos Business Alliance to pick up VIP guests. It had already set off. It was as huge as a mountain ridge, and its speed was quite shocking. In an instant, it soared into the starry sky and began to cross the Ziwei City. The battleship broke through the sky and left just like that, leaving behind a few cultivators who watched with envious eyes. A rogue cultivator gritted his teeth and said, When I become a strong expert one day, I'll also buy a Cosmos battleship and travel the starry sky to various places to mine for worldly source serum. Who doesn't want to? I really don't know what it's like to dig for treasures in the universe. Just thinking about it makes me excited, and I'm willing to dig for treasures for 1,000 years. Many rogue cultivators gathered together and talked about their dreams, sighing endlessly. Suddenly, the great plains were dyed red, and a blazing aura descended from the sky, surging forth in an overwhelming manner. The rogue cultivators here were terrified and uneasy. They felt that the chi and blood in their bodies were drying up, and even their blood was about to evaporate. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out as if 100,000 volcanoes had awakened, causing the entire Great Plains to sink. Large cracks also appeared and collapsed far away. Inluan rushed over and asked with an ugly expression, He's gone, damn it. Inluan didn't expect to be a step too late. Su Yin had just left. Drought Demon. This group of rogue cultivators was alarmed as they saw a terrifying figure standing at the end of the world. The area he was in was filled with the aura of disaster that wanted to devour their lives. This was definitely a young overlord with terrifying combat strength. He's gone to the Ziwei City. It's a bit troublesome. Chapter 377. The Z-Way segmentum had a lofty status in the universe. The Z-Way sect was also a peak force in the universe, overseeing the Z-Way segmentum. It was the strongest Overlord force in the Z-Way segmentum. The sect even only had female disciples. From this, one could imagine how high the status of the Z-Way sect was in the universe. Moreover, almost all the aristocratic families had marriage relations with the Z-Way sect. When the battleship approached the Z-Way segmentum, Suyin had already sensed a powerful aura spreading out from the Z-Way segmentum. This was the fluctuation of the Z-Way star, the aura that originated from the strongest ancient star of life. He opened his eyes and looked over. He saw a completely purple star. It was grand and peerless, many times more magnificent than the sun. It spewed out auspicious clouds and swirled with purple energy. Its auspicious aura was monstrous. This was the Z-Way star, the gathering place of powerful cultivators. It was the gathering place of the younger generation of Ingjia. It wasn't easy to go to the Z-Way star. The annual payment was a huge sum of wealth. Of course, for some aristocratic families, they didn't need to pay at all. But even if a small number of people paid, it was still a breathtaking sum. The master of the Z-Way star was the Z-Way sect. The Z-Way city was the largest ancient city on the Z-Way star. It had stood on the Z-Way star for epoch after epoch. After a long time, the Z-Way city was filled with a terrifying charm. It was like a palace where gods resided. What surprised Su Yin was that the Z-Way city was suspended in the air. This was a city in the sky, spewing out endless divine light. Vast amounts of life essence cascaded down. The Z-Way city even glowed and breathed on its own. It was as if it had given birth to life, seizing the good fortune of heaven and earth. Su Yin was greatly shaken. If the Z-Way city was so astonishing, then how powerful was the core area of the Z-Way star, the ancestral land of the Z-Way sect? The Z-Way sect wasn't open to the public. Only those invited by the Z-Way sect had the right to enter and take a look. There are so many great killing arrays. If one acts presumptuously here, they will definitely be killed. Even great Dao realm cultivators are no exception. Su Yin looked at the Z-Way city. He was now a 5th grade esper and could clearly see how shocking the Z-Way city was. There were countless great killing arrays here, and they contained a shocking foundation that could be activated at any time. I wonder what EC went through in the Crepe Myrtle sect. Is she doing well? At this moment, the battleship had already crossed over to Z-Way City and stopped at the edge of the city gate. Even the Cosmos Business Alliance couldn't drive the slave battleship into Z-Way City so brazenly. The people inside the battleships came down one after another. The city gate was very big, and people were as small as ants in front of it. They were all disciples of the Crepe Myrtle sect. They were here to protect and maintain order. They also collected the entrance fee. This was a floating city that the Crepe Myrtle sect had spent an astronomical price to build. The amount of resources they had spent was unimaginable. Saintess. When the disciples saw Saintess Z-Way, they quickly went up to greet her. Their attitude was respectful, and they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. This showed her status in the sect. All of you are excused. The guards nodded at Saintess Z-Way's words. They were curious, too, and they all looked at the young man. This man looked unfamiliar, but he was surrounded by a group of universe masters. He must be someone important. It's him, Xia Kunlun. One of the guards was shocked. I heard he's a disciple of a great being. I don't know if it's true or not. I didn't expect him to get the Stone Tower imprint. He's another great overlord. Within Z-Way City, the buildings were tall and majestic. There were shops everywhere, and all of them were filled with rare and precious treasures. Even the essence of heaven and earth in the city was very strong. If one cultivated here for a long time, they would become extraordinary. People couldn't help but sigh at the amazing aspects of the strongest life ancient star. Su Yin also saw the difference between the Big Dipper starfield and Z-Way starfield. Without the Big Dipper starfield was declining day by day. He didn't know if the Big Dipper starfield could be completely reborn in the future. As for the Cosmos Business Alliance's branch in the Crepe Myrtle sect, it was dazzling, luxurious, and popular. Because the auction was about to begin, many great beings from various races had come. The younger generations, Ingjia, also appeared frequently. Many great beings from various starfields had also come. Hung long. All of a sudden, the sky was dyed golden. It contained blazing heat, and it burned the space until it was distorted. That was a terrifying shadow walking, one step after another. The golden great path accompanied it, and the heavenly sound of the great Tao rang out. It was as if a young divine king was walking over, and behind him, one after another, great suns were rising and falling. It was as if 9 suns were rotating in the sky, blazing and terrifying. This made the older generation's experts pale, because when they looked over, it was as if they were looking at a magnificent ancient starfield. There were 9 suns rotating in the sky, emitting a terrifying and invincible aura. Oh my God! Liang and the others were horrified. Su Yan's eyes had a trace of astonishment. This young man was too terrifying. The essence blood in his body was like an ocean, rumbling. Especially the aura of the great Tao emitted from his body, covering the sky and the sun. Supreme 9 suns. Someone said in fear, why would the young supreme of the 9 suns starfield appear in Ziwei City? Someone looked at Saintess Ziwei. She was the supreme of the 9 suns starfield. The 9 suns starfield was the strongest ancient star of life. The great Tao imprint of the 9 suns starfield shocked Su Yan. It was unknown how much more terrifying it was than the Tian Xin starfield. Supreme 9 Suns has the 9 Suns battle body. Saintess Ziwei said solemnly, this is the strongest physique in the 9 Suns starfield, the invincible supreme physique. What? When did the 9 Suns starfield have another 9 Suns battle body? As far as I know, there was already one 60,000 years ago. Someone asked, feeling that it was unreal. This was an invincible supreme physique, and there might not even be one in a universe epic. Have you heard of the news of a 9 Suns battle body appearing 60,000 years ago? Liang sneered and said, the strongest physiques of the various peak forces of the universe all appeared at the end of the universe epic. The 9 Suns battle body was someone from 60,000 years ago, but it was sealed by the clan and lived until this era. What? How the F*CK can it be sealed? Su Yan's heart was greatly shaken. A person who existed 60,000 years ago had been sealed until now. This was too unbelievable. This is not surprising. As far as I know, some of the clans with the strongest foundation would seal their disciples with the strongest potential and wait for them to appear in this era. That's right. The various peak forces are after the fortune of the primal chaos ruins, and only the supreme of the younger generation is qualified to fight for it. As for what the fortune is, we don't know. Saintess Ziwei, do you not know? Su Yan pricked up his ears to listen. He felt that this matter was very important. If you don't comprehend the Tao, what's the point of knowing? Saintess Myrtle Star smiled faintly and said, that's the conquering of the strongest overlords. I only know that the young paragons of the 9 Sun starfield have already appeared in the primal chaos ruins. That day is getting closer and closer. Sigh. In one universe epoch, 120,000 years, the strongest Ingjia of the various peak forces of the universe will meet in the primal chaos ruins. This path is too scary. I don't know who is stronger. East Demon, West Buddha, South Emperor, or North Demon. Are they also seeds sealed for eternity? Who knows? The time of their appearance is very accurate. Now that they have comprehended the Tao, they are heading to the primal chaos ruins to train. Rumor has it that there is a path in the primal chaos ruins that will appear at the end of every epoch. The appearance of the young supreme of the 9 Suns, Starfield, made the geniuses of the myriad races pale in comparison. Some people said that there was no justice. They had just started to grow. However, there were already people of the younger generation sealed for eternity who had stepped on the Tao in advance. Who could compete with them in the future? In every epoch, the supreme of the peak forces of the ancestral hall would open the ancient path and reap great fortunes. The rest of the people want to compete for the fortunes. There's no hope at all. Ancestral heaven and the others are too strong. They're too strong. I don't know if the Crepe Myrtle sect will agree. After all, the young supreme of the Nine Suns Starfield is quite scary. Rumors spread and caused a storm. The Crepe Myrtle sect's great moon saint physique had yet to appear, but the young overlords of the various starfields had come to propose marriage. Now that even the young supreme of the Nine Suns Starfield had come, the Crepe Myrtle sect would definitely make a serious decision. The Nine Suns battle physique and the great moon saint physique can complement each other. The old ancestors of the two great sects might agree. The news caused an uproar. How big of a commotion would the saint of moon body, who had yet to be born, cause? Would there be other young supreme of the peak forces coming? How important is the Starfield imprint? If I can't obtain an extremely powerful Starfield imprint, how can I take revenge? Sooner or later, Earth's whereabouts will be leaked. I want to return to Earth. Suyin thought, since Earth was the later progenitor of the burial realm, how strong would the later progenitor be? He could see that the great Tao imprint of the strongest ancient planet was extremely strong. 10 strongest ancient planets? Suyin didn't want to think about it. It was impossible. No one would let an outsider obtain it. Then there were only the Big Dipper Starfield and Earth. If I could find Grandpa DeLong and the others, I can ask Grandpa DeLong. While Suyin was pondering, they had already arrived at the Cosmos Business Alliance. The interior was bustling with noise and excitement. The young Ingjia had come from various powerful races, peak forces, and ancient families of the cosmos. So this is Xia Kunlun, Brother Xia. Haha, greetings, Brother Xia. Saintess Ziwei's arrival was greeted by many young experts. They were very curious when they saw Su Yin. This person had obtained the Stone Pagoda imprint and was rumored to be the disciple of a powerful being. This group of young geniuses belonged to a small circle. They were all powerful and had extraordinary backgrounds. They were all descendants of nobles, and their cultivations were at the Quasi-Dao realm. They would all be the future leaders of their respective clans. I'm Xia Kunlun. Greetings, Brother Xia. Yin walked forward and scanned these people. They seemed to be led by a young man in purple. Brother Xia. The purple-robed man walked over. His aura was astonishing, and holy light flowed around his body. His divine eyes were like lightning, and the light of the great path shone from his body. He smiled and said, I heard that Daoist Xia is very generous and even took out the yin-yang fish to auction. I wonder if Daoist Xia has any extra on him? This is Zhu Sheng. Saintess Ziwei said seriously, Vice Hall Master Zhu Yang's son. He's one of the top 10 young experts of the Ancestral Hall. Zhu Sheng breathed like a dragon. Holy light flowed around his body. His body was filled with all kinds of terrifying lights. Without a doubt, this Zhu Sheng was very powerful. He was definitely more powerful than Zhu Xing, who Su Yin had killed. He was Zhu Yang's son. From this, one could see how powerful the Ancestral Hall was. Zhu Yang, one of the top 10 young experts, was already so powerful. I have plenty of yin-yang fish. Su Yan's face was filled with friendliness as he smiled. Since fellow cultivator Zhu Sheng wants it, it's easy. After this matter is over, I'll give you a few. Really, Zhu Sheng was delighted. Yin-yang fish were too precious. The Ancestral Hall had such things, but it was very difficult to get them. One had to make a great contribution. It's just a few yin-yang fish. What's the big deal? Su Yin was full of nonsense. He wanted to get closer. Ha ha, Brother Xia, you don't know. Yin-yang fish are too precious. I thought you were joking with me. Zhu Sheng suddenly wanted to befriend Su Yin and said with great enthusiasm, Brother Xia, don't listen to his nonsense. Chapter 378. You think it's so easy to catch them? Zhu Sheng had a dignified appearance. He stood with his hands behind his back. He was the leader of this group of young talents. After all, his father was Zhu Yang. With his current achievements, it was only a matter of time before he became the leader of the Ancestral Hall. The disciples of the great families all competed to befriend him. Zhu Sheng shook his head and frowned. The remnants of the burial realm lineage have all gone into hiding these past few years. We searched the entire world, but couldn't find them. These old bastards really have no hope of rising up. They're still causing trouble everywhere. They deserve to be killed. Oh, what did the burial realm lineage do this time? Saint Ziwei was surprised. She only knew that the burial realm lineage and the ancestral hall had a terrifying war 100 years ago. Apparently, even the ancestral hall's ancient ancestor was injured. What kind of power was the ancestral hall? If they claimed to be the second in the universe, no one would dare to claim to be the first. Generally speaking, the ancestral hall was the most terrifying overlord power in the universe. The ancient ancestor of this clan must be a great character. It was said that the war back then affected a large area. In order to hunt down the burial realm lineage, the ancestral hall spared no expense and massacred one life ancient star after another. TSK, a world of blood. It's unforgettable even now. Someone flattered. Back then, the ancestral hall's army truly caused one star field after another to tremble. Brother Zhu Sheng, it's been so long. Shouldn't some things be revealed now? There are some things that I'm not qualified to know right now. Zhu Sheng shook his head and said, I heard that it's related to a member of the burial realm lineage. Up until now, this person has not been caught. After all, my father is the expert in charge of this matter. In order to capture the remnants of the burial realm lineage, my father has wasted more than 1,000 years of his time. Burial realm lineage, it sounds familiar. Su Yin, who had been silent all this time, asked, It seems to be an ancient lineage that originated from a distant era. Haha, Dao Brother Xia must be in seclusion all year round, so you don't know much about the outside world. Zhu Sheng enthusiastically said, This burial realm lineage originated from the desolate era. Although it was at its peak, it still has to follow the general trend. The overlord of the past has no hope of rising up again. In the past, there were some rising stars of the burial realm lineage, but now there is no one left. It's only a matter of time before this lineage's extinction. It has to be said that the burial region's bloodline was powerful back then. Even after 1,000,000 years, they still have some inheritances. Someone sighed. Humph, they're still going to be exterminated. Zhu Sheng's eyes looked cold. That day is not far away. It is the end of the universe. Looking at the universe, Buried Zone does not have a single talented person. How are they going to revive themselves? They're just relying on some of the glory of their ancestors. It's nothing. That's right. The universe is now filled with heroes, and it's extremely glorious. Someone nodded and said the 10 strongest life ancient stars have always been strong. With such a foundation, any supreme star will pale in comparison. Even if a supreme life ancient star evolves into the strongest life ancient star, it will not be able to compete with the top forces in the future. This was the general trend of the universe, a pattern that could not be changed. Could any flood change the situation? It was even more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Saint Ziwei said, Back in the day, the Big Dipper starfield was also one of the 10 most powerful ancient planets, but now it is getting worse with each generation. But I know about Shueguan. Zhu Sheng suddenly smiled. Saint Ziwei, shouldn't you say something? What's Shueguan's real background? He has the dragon and phoenix dharma, an unknown constitution. Among the rising stars, Shueguan is probably the most famous. What do you mean? Someone was shocked. This evaluation was too high. You might not know. Zhu Sheng took a deep breath and praised. This Shueguan is very impressive. The secret technique he has should be the initial fist that has been lost for countless years. What? The initial fist. The younger generation sucked in a breath of cold air. That was known as the strongest divine ability in history, the initial fist. Rumor has it that the initial fist is a secret technique of the burial region. Zhu Sheng slowly said, Although I don't know how Shueguan got it, it is still the strongest spell in history, the initial fist. This fist technique was world-shaking. Although it was a lost secret technique, it was still famous. It was said to be the strongest secret technique that could kill a true dragon with physical strength. With this secret technique protecting him, Shueguan would soon stand out in the competition for supremacy on the path of the future Overlord. Could it be that Shueguan and the Crepe Myrtle sect has some background? Someone asked. I heard that Shueguan and Saintess Z Wei have a good relationship. There are some things that I don't know. Saintess Z Wei smiled and said, but Shueguan's strength is undeniable. Su Yin of the Big Dipper Starfield is also a young overlord, but compared to Shueguan, there's still a big gap. Oof, he won't live for long. He's just a grasshopper. How long can he live? A cold, killing intent flashed in Zhu Shang's eyes. In order to deal with Su Yin, the Ancestral Hall had lost a lot of face. This matter would not be delayed for long, and there would be a result soon. Dong, dong, dong. In the Cosmos Business Alliance, the sound of a bell rang, causing the Cosmos Business Alliance to suddenly fall silent. The people who were chatting dispersed because the auction was about to begin. Brother Kunlun, you won't be leaving Ziwei City for a few days, right? Zhu Sheng hurriedly said. In a few days, we will have a gathering. If Brother Kunlun is free, you must come and join us. Sure, sure. Su Yin nodded and said, when it starts, just inform me. The remaining people came to bid farewell. Their attitudes were all very respectful. Su Yin did not expect to sneak in so smoothly. He was prepared to lie low in Ziwei City for a period of time. When the time came, he would ask these young masters for information. The most important thing was to figure out Shueguan's inheritance. I wonder when EC will come out of seclusion. I didn't expect there to be so many suitors. Su Yin muttered in his heart. He followed the maid of the Cosmos Business Alliance to a private room and sat down. I'm suffocating. Iron Rooster came out of the space treasure and said, why didn't you let me out? You talk too much. There are many strong people here, so don't brag too much. Su Yin said with a black face. How's your investigation of the godly spiritual mountains? This matter cannot be rushed, Iron Rooster said. In the ancient universe era, there was a great battle in the godly spiritual mountains, and many godly spirits died. After a universe era, it should have become a shocking land of treasures. Are you so sure that Shueguan's inheritance is in the godly spiritual mountains? Su Yin frowned. It's impossible to deduce from the inheritance alone, but the initial fist is different. Iron Rooster said seriously, this godly spiritual mountains, if you want to trace it back, it's too ancient. It's hard to know how long it's been, but in the past, it wasn't called the godly spiritual mountains, but the Great Tao Mountain. What do you mean? Su Yan's pupil shrank. The Great Tao Mountain, one of the 9 great celestial mountains. Iron Rooster said, of course, this is just a legend. Some people say that the godly spiritual mountains are the Great Tao Mountain, but this is hard to prove. In the past, the godly spiritual mountains were a terrifying place. Over the years, countless cultivators comprehended the Great Tao in the godly spiritual mountains. Over time, it became a rare land of immortals, and there was even an immortal root in the world. The Great Tao tree took root in the godly spiritual mountains. This is an immortal root, and rumor has it that if you sit cross-legged under the Great Tao tree, you'll be able to reach the Great Tao tree. You can increase your chances of comprehending the Great Tao by at least 50%. Iron Rooster's words made Su Yin gasp. 50% increase? This was not just heaven-defying. It was an unparalleled treasure. If it was in the hands of a tribe, the tribe would rise to prominence. No matter what, the godly spiritual mountains are worth exploring. There are treasures everywhere. Iron Rooster's eyes were red, and the initial fist should be in the godly spiritual mountains. According to speculation, Shueguan might have the method to enter and exit the godly spiritual mountains. If that was the case, then Shueguan really had an endless amount of resources. Iron Rooster understood that even powerful cultivators couldn't open the godly spiritual mountains. The forgotten treasures inside might see the light of day again. This is a chance, Iron Rooster said. You can't compare to the resources of the top forces, but the godly spiritual mountains are different. It's definitely better than any treasure land. It's an absolute paradise for comprehending the Great Tao. As long as you can enter, you'll definitely obtain great fortunes. I'm very close to comprehending the great Tao, Su Yin mumbled to himself. He would soon reach the peak of the transcendence realm. The path of comprehending the great Tao was as difficult as ascending the heavens. Without the guidance of a powerful cultivator, he would have to take many detours. If the godly spiritual mountains were truly a holy land for comprehending the great Tao, then it was worth the risk. Let's wait until the auction is over. Su Yan's eyes scanned the outside. The auction had already begun, and all sorts of heavenly treasures were being brought out. There were even divine Tao weapons. Su Yan noticed that there were many people with terrifying auras in the auction. He reckoned that the standards of this auction would be very high. There should be extremely powerful treasures appearing. I wonder how powerful the heavenly earth source plasma is, Su Yan mumbled to himself. His understanding of the heavenly earth source plasma was limited. A great Tao scripture that describes the cultivation experience from the transcendence realm to the great Tao realm in detail. When this item came out, Su Yan had the urge to bid for it. However, when he thought about his fake identity, he could only shake his head. Wouldn't he be exposed? 1,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stones. This item caused many major forces to fight over it. It wasn't much to the top forces, but to the itinerant cultivators and even some clans, it was a treasure. It was worth spending a lot of money to buy it. A treasure that guards the primordial spirit. It can withstand the attacks of the great Tao. This item was very valuable. Its value surpassed that of ordinary divine Tao weapons. Its value was definitely around 2,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stones. How many heavenly essence stones do you have? Miser was very curious. A lot. Su Yan had been staring at the auction. The value of this old thing Han Jin had far exceeded Su Yan's expectations. It was comparable to the reserves of a powerful clan. The treasure that everyone has been waiting for, the heavenly earth source plasma, is here. The moment this sentence appeared, the entire auction was in a heated discussion. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the high platform. There were jars after jars, and each of them contained a milky white liquid. After the jars were opened, the rich essence of heaven and earth gushed out. There were thousands of strands of auspicious light, and a sacred aura spread out. This was a great tonic. It was the crystallization of the essence of heaven and earth, the heavenly earth source plasma. Someone gulped. It's really the heavenly earth source plasma. This is a sacred item for cultivation. This is the first time I've seen it. That's right. This kind of resource is in the hands of the top forces. It's very difficult to mass produce it. It's a limited resource. That's right. It's of great help to great Tao realm experts. It can be used to condense a great Tao body. Even Zhu Sheng's eyes were red. He had obtained this item before, but it was a pity that there weren't many of them. Now that the auction had taken out 10 jars, he was prepared to buy 1 jar to nourish his body. I estimate that 1 jar will cost 1,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stones. Buy some if you have the money. This kind of limited resource is too difficult to obtain. Miser reminded, although it's not a sacred item, it's enough for you to use now. You're now in the transcendence realm. It's enough for you to use the heavenly earth source plasma to temper your body and reach the limits. It was too extravagant. 1 jar would cost 1,500 kilograms. Give me 5 jars. Chapter 379. Zhu Sheng was dumbfounded. 5 jars. That was more than 5,000 kilograms of heaven's essence stone. Even the masters of the universe would find it hard to take out so many heaven's essence stones, unless they were extremely wealthy, great Tao realm experts. And to the young masters of aristocratic families like them, being able to take out 2,500 kilograms was already very impressive. But now, someone had directly bid for 5 jars. Was this for real? Miser froze and fell to the ground, his feathers standing on end. 5 jars of heaven and earth source plasma was equivalent to 15,000 kilograms of heaven's essence stone. Where did you get such a huge sum of money? Miser was speechless, seriously suspecting that Su Yan had robbed someone's treasury. His tone was even more arrogant than the masters of the universe. Who is bidding? His tone is too arrogant. Asking for 5 jars? Does he think the heaven and earth source plasma is cabbage? Many people were dumbfounded. Logically speaking, some pinnacle forces would have such limited edition resources. Excluding these forces, a cultivator who was willing to spend so much wealth was definitely not an ordinary person. Su Yin felt that 1 jar was not enough for him. 3 jars were barely enough. In any case, this was a limited edition resource. If he really couldn't use it all up, he could sell in the future. Only then would the price be suitable for his current status. Su Yin had close to 15,000 kilograms of Heaven's Essence Stone on him, and he even had various natural treasures. In short, Su Yin had obtained about 25,000 kilograms of Heaven's Essence Stone from Han Jin's spatial treasure. This was not a small sum. It's Ya Kunlun. Someone noticed the private room where the voice came from, and there was instantly silence. Liang and the others pouted. Was this guy really going to use the heaven and earth source plasma to wash his feet? It's Xia Kunlun, the disciple of an almighty. He even obtained the stone tower's imprint and squatted in the tower for 10 days and 10 nights. The disciple of an almighty? When the news spread, a group of old experts was horrified. They gasped and said, "The disciple of an almighty has appeared." No wonder his tone is so arrogant. Perhaps 5,000 kilograms of Heaven's Essence Stone is nothing to him. Zhu Sheng and the others pouted. How rich and overbearing. This was too rich and overbearing. Congratulations, little friend Xia. Zi Xuanzu smiled and said, 5 jars of heaven and earth source plasma have been auctioned off by little friend Xia. There are still 5 jars below, and each jar is 1,500 kilograms of Heaven's Essence Stone. If you need them, quickly bid. Some people hurriedly bid, afraid that the rest would be snatched away. However, 1,500 gene of Heavenly Essence Stones wasn't a small sum. Some poorer Great Tao Realm experts weren't even willing to spend it. When there were only 3 cans left, an indifferent voice resounded through the auction hall. I want the remaining 3 cans. Who is this? Doesn't he know the rules? He wants to book the whole place. The group of old men almost jumped up and cursed it out loud. There were only 10 jars in total, and Su Yin had taken 5. Now, someone else had taken the remaining 3 jars. The auction for the Heavenly Source Serum was over. Shueguan. Someone was shocked and looked toward the private room. There was a young man in the room. He seemed to have reached an extremely important juncture in his cultivation. There was an aura of the great Tao that was difficult to suppress surging within his body. It was like a vast abyss of the great Tao that was bottomless. Shueguan's body emitted an exceptionally tyrannical fluctuation, as if he was a young divine king. His divine might was awe-inspiring and made the younger generation feel deep veneration. This was because this kind of aura was bottomless, and it was rumored that he even had 2 supreme bodies. It's infuriating to compare oneself to others. Some young people's faces were ashen. One was the disciple of a major existence, and the other was the disciple of a major existence's inheritance. Moreover, each of them was richer than the other. Moreover, they were all experts among the younger generation. They were born in the same era as these people, so what could they use to compete with them? Su Yan's eyes swept toward Shueguan, and he remained silent. Kid, you have to hurry up. This kid's improvement speed can be said to be godly. Tai Gongji's tone was grave as he said, Impressive. I can see that this person's battle prowess is astonishing. The power of the great Tao that he has accumulated is relatively powerful. The most important thing is that he has the same cultivation as Shueguan. That is a stone pagoda that tests one's physical body. Moreover, he has casually won 3 jars of the Heavenly Source Serum. Kid, you have an opponent. How could Su Yin not see that if Shueguan stepped into the Great Tao realm in advance and obtained the supreme title of the Big Dipper Star region, it would be difficult to deal with him then? Xia Kunlun is the disciple of an almighty, and Shueguan has obtained the inheritance of an almighty. I wonder who is stronger between the 2 of them. A rising star in the universe. Right now, Shueguan is in the limelight. I I wonder what domain Xia Kunlun is in. Some people made comparisons, and it was hard to say. Shui Guan's aura leaked out, and he was extremely powerful and domineering. He was infinitely close to the great Dao realm. As for Xia Kunlun, he was like a deep pool of water, and one couldn't tell how deep he was. Their backgrounds weren't small, and no one dared to rashly test their foundations and strength. Some people suspected that Shui Guan had casually won 3 jars of the heavenly source serum, and they suspected that he had inherited the inheritance of an almighty. Next, we will auction a rather special treasure. Zi Xuanzu's words caused the auction venue to fall silent. There were many purple tokens, and every one of them exuded the aura of the great Tao. They were extremely ancient, and this item actually caused some of the overlords of the universe to be envious. What is this? Su Yin frowned slightly. He felt that this item was even more attractive than the heavenly source serum. There are actually 5 slots this time. Which dojo is this? The clan leader of a great clan trembled, feeling that he could win one of the tokens. Is it the Purple Sun Dojo? Someone asked, his tone a little agitated. This was the clan leader of a great clan. That's right. It is indeed the Purple Sun Dojo. Zi Xuanzu's reply caused everyone to be shocked. Su Yan's eyes narrowed abruptly. Those that could be called dojos were all paradises that were very suitable for comprehending the Tao. There were imprints of the great Tao left behind by great beings inside. Generally speaking, such dojos were the lifeblood and roots of various great forces. There weren't many of such dojos that were controlled by peak forces. They were treasured lands that nurtured shocking prodigies and contained various imprints of the great Tao. If one could comprehend 1 or 2 of them, there was hope for them to comprehend the Tao in the future. Isn't the Purple Sun Dojo a top-notch dojo? Some people gasped. I didn't expect that a top-notch dojo would be auctioned off. I remember that the Purple Sun Dojo was a paradise controlled by the lineage of the burial region in the past. It's hard to determine how long it has existed. There are various imprints of great beings in the dojo, and it's said that the dojo is a small world opened up by a great being of the burial region. Its value is immeasurable. The younger generation were all shocked. The top-notch dojos could only be controlled by peak forces. There were a limited number of them, only 1 or 2. This was a supreme treasure land for nurturing the younger generation. Because it contained various imprints of the great Tao, it could be called a top-notch dojo. There was a measurement standard. It depended on how many geniuses had comprehended the great Tao in the Purple Sun Dojo. In fact, top-notch dojos were extremely important to great Tao realm experts. They would also be of vital help. The Purple Sun Dojo had existed for a very long time and was related to great beings. It belonged to an independent small world. Who would have thought that a precious slot for the Purple Sun Dojo would appear in the auction? We must get it. The chances of my son comprehending the great Tao will increase by several times. The eyes of a powerful clan's clan leader turned red. A top-notch dojo. It once produced the Divine King, and it has the imprint of the Divine King's great Tao. However, the clan's older generation expert was extremely shrewd. He reprimanded, "The Purple Sun Dojo has existed for a very long time. 1,000,000 years have passed, and the space opened up by great beings is probably unstable. The various imprints of the great Tao have also been greatly consumed. This dojo probably won't be able to exist for much longer. Otherwise, who would sell a slot? Does their ancestral palace lack this bit of heavenly essence stone?" These words woke everyone up from their daze. A few experts who had lost control instantly reacted. They all sucked in a cold breath and said, "That's right. The ancestral palace doesn't lack wealth. If it wasn't because the dojo is about to disappear, they wouldn't have taken it out to auction off 5 slots. The cultivation slots for top-notch dojos were limited. In other words, if cultivators cultivated there, they would exhaust their great Tao imprints. 5,000 kilograms of heavenly essence stone. Someone shouted out a price, causing a huge commotion. Zhu Sheng wasn't surprised. The slots for top-notch dojos were worth this price. He would even go into seclusion at the Purple Sun Dojo. Usually, one slot could allow him to cultivate for 3 years. Even the ancestral palace's disciples of inheritances were no exception. They all had 3 years. 3 years was already long enough. If one comprehended anything, it would be a great opportunity, an opportunity to enter the great Tao realm. Moreover, the essence of heaven and earth inside the Purple Sun Dojo was exuberant. There were large dragon veins underground, which would often nurture heavenly materials and earthly treasures. It was a rare paradise. Damn, it's so valuable? Su Yan was a bit stunned. Now you know how terrifying the divine spiritual mountain range is, right? Iron Rooster said, top-notch dojos can't compare to the divine spiritual mountain range. They used to be occupied by ancient deities all year round. They are considered peerless, immortal lands. They can't be called dojos anymore. What are the chances of comprehending the Tao in a top-notch dojo? Su Yan asked. It can probably increase by 20 to 30%. Iron Rooster calculated for a while and said, let me tell you, it's definitely worth it. Even those with heaven-defying talents have a high chance of comprehending the Tao. Top-notch dojos have different effects on them. In the future, their breakthroughs will be even stronger. This is a potential that money can't buy. I heard them say that the Purple Sun Dojo was established by the Almighty of the Burial Realm. Don't you want to make a trip there? Iron Rooster said. Why don't you buy a spot? Who knows, you might even get the Almighty imprint. Hearing this, Su Yan shook his head and said, I'll take some time to take a look. Who knows, I might be able to sneak in. Buying a spot is the same as telling them that we have nothing to do with the Almighty. Are you crazy? That is a top-notch dojo, the lifeblood of the Ancestral Hall. It's too risky to have designs on the Purple Sun Dojo. Iron Rooster was shocked. Su Yan had the dragon totem in his hand, so he didn't dare to take the risk. However, if he wanted to find an opportunity to kill his way in, he wouldn't even know how he died. Su Yan wasn't that daring. This kind of thing had to be planned out at length. Damn, I can still flip this dojo over and make the Ancestral Hall lose a piece of flesh. Su Yan said fiercely in his heart. Now, the auction for these 5 spots was in full swing. All the great clans were on the verge of fighting. Each spot was more valuable than the last. The price of the 5th spot was close to 20,000 gene of heavenly essence stones. Who wouldn't be envious of such shocking wealth? From this, one could see how terrifying the Ancestral Hall was. Just a few spots were enough to make the great clans break their heads to fight for it. However, the number had reached the limit. This kind of resource wasn't something anyone could afford. Truly wonderful, Zhu Liang praised. Now that I think about it, Xia Kunlun's wealth isn't that great. He is indeed a disciple of Almighty, but his wealth can't compare to our Ancestral Hall. Just the 3 top-notch dojos that our Ancestral Hall controls are wealth that the world can only dream of. The auction continued and was extremely lively. All kinds of treasures appeared frequently. Su Yan had broadened his horizons. There were many treasures that he hadn't heard of before. He realized that most of the items in this auction were treasures that could help one comprehend the Tao. Thump, thump. Su Yan's heart was thumping wildly as his eyes looked at an item. It was a simple bronze armor that was engraved with all kinds of strange patterns. The bronze armor was extremely ancient. Compared to its complete state, it was an unearthed antique. Zhong Dingwen. Su Yan's heart trembled. He saw that there were 2 ancient words on the armor's armor. After a while, he realized that it was force armor. Force armor. This was an armor related to the back progenitor and even the burial region. More importantly, it attracted the attention of the dragon totem. It was glowing and guiding Su Yan. Its temperature was extremely high. Chapter 380. The bronze battle armor was filled with the aura of time. It had existed for a very long time, and its style was also very ancient. It was simpler and heavier, looking like a type of defensive battle armor. It's already very difficult to estimate how long this battle armor has existed. Zixuansu's voice spread throughout the entire place. However, this treasure's defensive power is astonishing. When worn by a Law Phase Realm cultivator, they won't die from the attacks of a great Tao Realm expert. It's a type of battle armor with extremely strong defensive power. Some people were envious. not dying from the attacks of a great Dao realm expert. This defense was really boundlessly powerful and was worth spending a lot of money to purchase. Some people weren't interested. Being targeted by a great Dao realm expert, how many attacks could this battle armor withstand? After all, no matter how sturdy the battle armor was, it would eventually shatter. They felt that it wasn't worth purchasing. However, the value of this item was also very high, not lower than the price of a divine Dao weapon. In fact, if it was in the hands of a quasi-Dao realm expert, it would be very different. They might be able to escape from the hands of a great Dao realm expert. 1,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stone. The price rose steadily. Most of the bidders were quasi-Dao realm cultivators. This item was very suitable for protecting one's life. Even some mighty lords started to bid, feeling that it was a very good treasure. 2,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stone. Su Yin shouted out the price, causing the cultivators who were bidding intensely to deflate like deflated balloons. This price was a little high. 2,500 kilograms of heavenly essence stone could be used to purchase a top-notch Dao weapon. However, some people were surprised. What did Xia Kunlun want this item for? Junior brother, why are you buying this lousy item? Miserly Rooster reprimanded. You have quite a number of treasures on you, enough for your defense. This battle armor's defensive power is ordinary and can at most block a great Dao realm expert. What's the use of it? It's just a small toy. In the future, when I recruit some subordinates, I can give it to them for self-defense. Su Yan's reply made everyone speechless. Giving such a valuable battle armor to his subordinates? Wasn't this too generous? Zixuansu didn't quite believe Su Yan's words. She stared at the battle armor and sized it up. Then, she shook her head. If it was really a special treasure, how could the appraisers of the Cosmos Business Alliance not be able to see through it? How could they let Su Yin get it so easily? Congratulations, fellow Taoist Xia. Zixuansu's words made Su Yin heave a sigh of relief. He had finally gotten it. He had been worried that something unexpected would happen. How strong was this force armor? The auction continued, and soon, Su Yan's auction items were sent over. Su Yin could not help feeling pained when he took out the Heavenly Essence Stone. He did not know how strong the Heavenly Essence Plasma was. After all, the price he had to pay was right there. Give me a bottle. The cheapskate's saliva dripped down as he laughed, his eyes shining. Move aside. Su Yin hurriedly put them away, leaving only one jar behind. After opening the lid, auspicious multicolored light rose from within and pure worldly essence rolled over. The life essence contained within was exuberant, causing even Su Yin to be amazed. He felt that the price he had paid was worth it. Su Yin took out a portion and swallowed it. As if he had drunk a cup of strong wine, his stomach was on fire. For a moment, Su Yan's whole body turned red, as if he had been roasted by fire. But immediately after, the heavenly essence plasma dissolved. Su Yan's body crackled. His bones, flesh, blood, and organs seemed to be wrapped in a kind of evolutionary force. Su Yin could clearly feel that his body was becoming stronger under the nourishment of the heavenly essence plasma. This caused his face to turn pale. This thing was too shocking. It had mended some of the weaknesses in Su Yan's physical body, and he had even used the power of the mysterious bone book to mend his damaged physical body. This caused him to be pleasantly surprised. The value of this heavenly origin serum was quite terrifying. Su Yin quickly sealed the jar to prevent the surprise from leaking out. I just need to find a place to go into seclusion, and my body will be able to rush to the peak. Su Yan's eyes flashed with joy. For a period of time in the future, his combat strength would soar, and his means of survival in the universe would be greatly improved. Then, Su Yin looked at the bronze armor with a serious expression. He didn't know what kind of treasure this force armor, which was related to the lineage of the burial region, was. This thing is a loss. The miser studied it for a while, and with a look of certainty, he mocked Su Yin. What's the point of buying this junk? It's just a defensive, great Dao realm expert. You might as well buy some other treasures. Su Yin cast a sidelong glance at the miser, as if he was looking at the miser's ignorant face. The miser said angrily, "If this thing is really special, I'll eat it." Suyin put on the force armor. At this moment, he felt as if his flesh and blood were connected to the force armor. The bloodline power in Suyan's body was boiling, awakened by the ancient aura of the force armor. It actually surged, causing the strange patterns on the bronze armor to emit a divine light. For a moment, Suyan's aura was terrifying, as if he was a universe expert. His entire body was filled with terrifying aura. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The miser was shocked. He stuttered and pointed at Suyin with his wings. He couldn't believe it. How could this thing be so terrifying? He felt that Suyin was now like a universe overlord. This was just a type of armor. How could it increase Suyin's combat strength by so much? Who would believe it if word got out? Suyin was immersed in the force armor. He carefully sensed and comprehended the power of the force armor. He faintly realized that there was a condensed space inside the force armor that could store godly power. However, the godly power stored inside was already very weak. This shocked him and made him pale. If this was the force armor in its prime, how powerful would it be? However, Suyin didn't care. He had the broken cauldron, which could replenish the loss of godly power. As such, Suyin's combat strength was unimaginable. Suyin pulled out a killing sword. This was a divine Tao weapon that he got from Hanjin's space ring. Clang! Clang! Suyin flicked his finger on the blade of the sword, causing the sword to vibrate on its own, as if it had been slashed by another killing sword. This scene caused the miser's jaw to drop. His eyes were bloodshot. How could this thing be so frightening? Suyin suppressed the excitement in his heart. Looking at the miser's face, he said with disdain, "Don't worry. This is such a good treasure. I won't let you eat it." "Kid, what level is this treasure? Is it a special space secret armor?" This was a term. What was a space secret armor? Suyin had gotten the Starry Sky armor before. Generally speaking, the forging technique for space secret armor was very rare. Basically, it was in the hands of the top forces. This space secret armor is definitely the best. It can increase your combat strength without any limit. How terrifying! Suyin knew very well that it was because of his bloodline that this force armor could only be used by cultivators of the Zhongyu bloodline. Other cultivators couldn't use it at all. I wonder how powerful the force armor will be after it recovers. Suyin muttered in his heart. He carefully sensed the force armor and found that the strange patterns engraved on the armor were like a strange Tao diagram. He thought for a while and finally concluded that it was a space armor that could be used to strengthen the body. It was priceless, because in the hands of a weapon-refining grandmaster, if he could research the forging method of this space secret armor, then it would be amazing. It would be an inexhaustible wealth. Suyin was excited. The harvest was too great. With the bronze armor protecting his body, he wouldn't be afraid of ordinary universe masters attacking him. He even found that the force armor could fuse with his body. Soon, the bronze armor disappeared as if it had fused with Suyin's body. This thing also had a special effect, which was to conceal his aura. Path Understanding Elixir. At this moment, the auction was shaking. At this point, the items were getting more and more valuable. Now, even the Path Understanding Elixir was brought out. This was a Path Understanding Elixir that increased the chances of success by 20%. It was a 7th grade elixir. Suyin opened his eyes and looked over. He saw a ball of brilliant and colorful elixir that contained the heavenly rhythm of the great Tao. This was a rare elixir made from many rare ores and even Tao stones. Path Understanding Elixir was also a limited resource. Its value was much higher than the worldly plasma. Even Zhu Sheng and the others would fight for it. A furnace of priceless elixir was gushing with great Tao light and singing the great Tao. After all, it was made from rare immortal materials like Tao stones. Its value was unparalleled and made people jealous. 1 kilogram of Tao stones for the trade. Shuiguan's words were shocking. The group of old men almost cursed it out loud. They were angry in their hearts, rich and overbearing, this dog Shuiguan. Why do we need him at such a young age? It's not like he can't comprehend the great Tao. Tao stones were too valuable. 1 kilogram of Tao stones could be used as the main ingredient for 3 furnaces of Path Understanding elixir. Shuiguan was now taking out 2 kilograms of Tao stones for the trade. Who could compete with him? Normally, when such treasures appeared in an auction, the older generation would fight for it. There were even some old cultivators who were stuck at the quasi-Dao realm for 1,000 years and didn't have much lifespan left. They were very eager to buy a furnace of Path Understanding elixir. After all, their cultivation path had reached the end and their life force was about to dry up. They were willing to spend all their wealth to fight for it. Next, we will auction 2 special items. They are very famous in the cultivation world. Zi Xuanzu took out a jade cauldron. The extreme yin fish and the extreme yang fish were sealed inside. This pair of rare species moved the leaders of the peak powers. They gave the order to fight for them at all costs. Yin-yang fish, who will be willing to sell it? A rare immortal treasure that can improve one's aptitude. Its value is only below the Saint Grade Heaven and Earth Source Serum. Zhu Sheng's eyes were red. He thought to himself, I must build a good relationship with Xia Kunlun. I will take out the yin-yang fish just like that. I will send some beauties to him in a few days. If Xia Kunlun is really willing to give me a few, I will pay any price. Suyin didn't have many yin-yang fish left. He only had 3 pairs left. He wouldn't take them out for auction unless it was a crucial moment. A stock of king medicine. Shuiguan's bid had already silenced some experts who were prepared to fight for it. He was rich and overbearing, taking out a stock of king medicine right off the bat. I bid 3 purple heart lotus seeds. Saintess Zi Wei also bid. This was an excellent item for nourishing the primordial spirit. Her ring was not inferior to a stock of king medicine. 3 seeds were already quite a lot. I am willing to use a spatial domain Dao weapon for the trade. I have a violet gold battle armor. There were many bids. This was a barter trade. People appeared frequently, and the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. King medicine and weapons are useless to me. Su Yin leaned toward the purple heart lotus seeds. This was a good item for nourishing the primordial spirit. If his primordial spirit could improve, then Su Yan's mastery of the profound meaning of space would reach a higher level. Congratulations, Saintess Zi Wei, Zi Xuanzu said with a smile. Saintess Zi Wei's face was full of smiles. She said to Su Yin, Thank you, Brother Xia. We can let Saintess and Xia Kunlun interact more. Meng Ying and the others' eyes flashed. It was obvious that Shuiguan's bid was the highest among all the treasures. However, Su Yin chose Saintess Zi Wei. This made them feel that Su Yin was interested in Saintess Zi Wei. Boom! The auction hall was suddenly filled with suffocating waves of energy. It was as if an ancient god had awakened from a deep slumber. It was blazing and terrifying. This was a pagoda that emitted a divine light that soared into the sky. It contained the aura of the gods. Divine Artifact. Chapter 381. A complete divine weapon was placed in the auction hall, shocking everyone. The whole place was in an uproar. Even the masters of the universe couldn't sit still and stood up. This was a divine weapon, a complete divine weapon. Once mastered, it was equivalent to a great killing weapon that could intimidate those of the same level. It could even guard the fate of a family for eternity. In short, this item was extremely valuable, and all the great beings present were breathing heavily. A complete divine weapon was also extremely valuable. Some suspected that it was auctioned off by a descendant of a declining family. Otherwise, who would be willing to trade for a divine weapon? 20,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones. Some people couldn't hold back and shouted out a price, attracting some disdain. How could 20,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones be enough? 24,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones. 15,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones. The price climbed steadily, and even Su Yin gasped. The price soon broke through 50,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones and was still rising. This divine weapon was at least 40,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones, and it might even be higher. It was very significant to some families. So how powerful was the Divine King's weapon? The starting price of the Divine King's weapon won't be lower than 150,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones. The miser smacked his lips and said, "This is a priceless treasure. A divine weapon refined by the Divine King will be priced as high as 1 million kilograms of celestial essence stones." Suyin was dumbfounded. This was a price that could make even pinnacle powers turn green. Even if it was put up for auction, how many powers would be willing to pay such a high price? Suyin couldn't help but think that the ancestral hall, which had been passed down for millions of years, must have produced many Divine King. Then how many of the Divine King's weapons did their families have? This was an unknown, and no one knew how powerful their foundations were. The Divine King's weapon was priceless, and no one would complain about having too many. 40,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones. A great being from the demon race suddenly stood up. His hair and beard stood on end as a terrifying aura spread out from his body. It was as if a terrifying true dragon was about to awaken. The whole place was silent. The price was too high. Some powerful races couldn't afford to spend 40,000 kilograms of celestial essence stones to buy a divine weapon. They would be emptied of their foundations. It was a Peng clan expert from the Fiend region who obtained it. I reckon he bought it for his descendants. That should be the case. The new generation Peng King of the Fiend realm. He follows the North Fiend and is his right arm. He is a peerless general under his command, taking out 80,000 kilograms of heaven's essence stones just like that. The Devil Sector is indeed a pinnacle power in the universe. When a North Demon was mentioned, everyone present was filled with respect. He was a terrifying young giant. The existence of Emperor Nan and the others made the younger generation pale in comparison. In the future, the four of them would definitely shine brightly in the struggle for supremacy on the path of the strongest. After all, they had comprehended the great path ahead of time. The demon domain was extremely terrifying. Almost all the demon clans in the universe were related to the demon domain. The demon domain had once flourished to its peak. Every generation produced an invincible paragon of the demon domain. The demon domain's foundation was boundless. After all, the most powerful force of the Fey race was the Fey domain, which included 70% to 80% of the Fey race in the universe. This showed how special and powerful this race was. Since the divine artifact had been taken out, everyone was looking forward to what other treasures would appear. Suyin also made a move once. He spent a large amount of resources and obtained a batch of divine materials. He was prepared to use the mysterious power of the broken cauldron to increase the wear and tear of the force armor. What he regretted was that he didn't see any dusty treasures. After all, in an auction like the Cosmos Business Alliance, the appraiser's eyes were extremely sharp. Dusty treasures almost didn't exist. The finale treasures are starting. The auction was in full swing, and it had already reached the critical moment of the auction. When the blazing heavenly dragon blood essence awoke, a dazzling divine light pierced through the void, as if a slumbering true dragon was awakening. It was a great path cauldron. After it was opened, a dragon's roar shook the sky. Thousands of golden rays shone. A true dragon was about to leap into the nine heavens, spewing out blood essence stones. This is... Suyin's eyes suddenly narrowed. His eyes were red. There was a fruit sealed in the cauldron of the great path. It was as if a true dragon was awakening. The airflow that seeped out was dazzling and overflowing. The exuberant degree of blood essence made the younger generation speechless. The auction hall was illuminated brightly. The great path cauldron was emitting a divine aura. A golden fruit with dragon scales was shining brightly. It was like a true dragon pearl. Dragonization fruit. An old master's face turned pale. The aura in his body suddenly surged. He was about to fight for it. What? A dragonization fruit. Everyone present was dumbfounded. They could not believe their eyes. This was the legendary heaven-defying fruit, the dragonization fruit. Damn, this treasure is too strong. Is this a divine medicine? Su Yin smacked his lips. It was good to be rich. If he had the money, he would have bought it directly. Everyone, Zi Xuansu's eyes were red. This is indeed a dragonization fruit. A fruit born from a divine medicine is worth as much as a top divine medicine. This dragonization fruit might even be stronger than a top divine medicine. It was just a fruit born from a divine medicine. The reason why it was called a dragonization fruit was because the divine power it contained was too terrifying. It was rumored that a dragonization fruit could allow one to have a body as strong as a true dragon. Moreover, the dragonization fruit had the effect of prolonging one's life. This one could probably extend one's life by 3,000 years. Who wouldn't be jealous of such a treasure? The Divine King's Cultivation Notes, Volume 1. A cold voice resounded throughout the cultivation hall. Everyone turned pale and looked at the person who spoke. It was Supreme Ninyang. He stood in the private room as if an eternal sun was burning. Some of the girls present looked at Supreme Ninyang with infatuated eyes. He was Supreme Ninyang, the most powerful person in the cultivation world. In the future, he would be known as the most powerful being on the path of the strongest. His fame was second only to West Buddha and the other three. As for the Divine King's cultivation notes, only the peak forces would be willing to take them out to sell. I wonder how far away is the young Supreme from the Nine Yang Star region compared to the four great elites of the North Yao. Someone couldn't help but think. They felt that they would only know after they fought. 1. Earth Dragon Pearl. A great figure from the dark underworld lineage spoke. That was a rare, precious medicine that had been nurtured by the earth for a long time. Its value was needless to say. 1 Great Tao Golden Pill. A great figure from the ancestral palace followed. Too rich. Miser Rooster smacked his lips. 1 Great Tao Golden Pill can create a Great Tao Realm elite. Although it will forever stop at the Great Tao Realm, this kind of medicinal pill is also priceless. 1 Face Preserving Pill. Meng Ying's voice resounded throughout the hall, causing the pearls of the various great clans to tremble in excitement. Who didn't know the effects of the face-preserving pill? It could preserve one's youth forever. The value of this kind of medicinal pill could sometimes be described as priceless. Even Meng Ying didn't have the qualifications to eat a face-preserving pill to preserve one's youth forever. The value of this kind of medicinal pill was immeasurable. It was rumored that someone had once used the Divine King's weapon to exchange for one. On a divine tool. A great figure from the dark underworld lineage raised the price. My Yao realm can take out 5 kilograms of the Divine King's precious blood. The price that the Yao realm shouted shocked everyone. They were willing to take out 5 kilograms of the Divine King's precious blood to trade. It seems like they're all fighting for the good fortune of their young supreme beings. No one wants to give up. Even if they have to pay a higher price, they have to obtain the dragon transformation fruit. After all, the effects of a divine medicine's fruit are astonishing. Many people cried out in surprise. I wonder how high the final price will be. Su Yin shook his head. What could he use to compete? It was impossible for him to obtain it. However, Su Yin still made a feint and shouted out a divine medicine. Hee, when the time comes and they take a fancy to you, let's see how you explain yourself. Miser Rooster smiled slyly. Then when the time comes, I'll refine you into a divine medicine. Su Yin replied, just say that you're a divine egg. Miser Rooster was so angry that he was trembling. His face darkened as he said, I don't know who obtained the dragon transformation fruit. This fruit's effects are quite terrifying. Of course, it's only for great Tao realm experts. If you consume it, your body will directly explode and you will die. The Yao realm's bid was the most savage. After all, the dragon transformation fruit was only effective for Yao experts. However, what surprised everyone was that the dark underworld lineage madly increased the price. In the end, they obtained the dragon transformation fruit at a terrifying price. It seems that the dark underworld lineage values Yin greatly. They are not hesitating to use their resources to compete. I'm afraid that the dragon transformation fruit won't have much effect on the Northern Yao realm. Ancien is the strongest expert of the dark underworld lineage's younger generation. They will definitely raise him. This time, the dark underworld lineage also paid a huge price. The surrounding spectators smacked their lips. The price paid was even higher than the dragon transformation fruit. Even so, the dark underworld lineage felt that it was worth it. Now, all kinds of rare resources would be taken out to nurture the most outstanding disciples. After all, the competition for the strongest was about to begin. The auction is about to end. The dragon transformation fruit was the final item. Su Yin sighed. There were many heavenly treasures in the world, but one had to have the money to obtain them. It was said that the Cosmos Business Alliance's highest standard auction required at least Great Tao Realm experts to participate. The treasures that were taken out at that kind of auction were quite astonishing. Tens of thousands of kilograms of heavenly essence stones could hardly cause a ripple. Boom! Suddenly, wisps of intense killing intent swept through the entire Z-Way city. This city in the sky was recovering. All kinds of great killing formations were activated frequently, blazing to the extent that they could pierce through the universe. Even the entire Big Dipper Star region was alarmed. What's going on? Could it be that someone is attacking Z-Way City? Are they tired of living? The auction site was in chaos. Various experts rushed out and instantly saw a bloody scene. It was a black battleship that rushed in. It was stained with blood and was badly damaged. It crushed several Crepe Myrtle cult guards who wanted to block it. Meng Ying's expression was gloomy. When he saw that it was the Ancestral Hall's battle, he shouted, "Withdraw the great killing formations. It's the Ancestral Hall's experts." Z-Way City regained its peace. Various experts looked at the damaged battleship. Zhu Yang crawled out from inside. He was missing an arm and a leg. His face was ferocious, and his eyes spewed out terrifying killing intent, causing the entire Z-Way City to feel as if it had fallen into an ice cave. Who did this? The experts gathered here from the Ancestral Hall were furious. The one who crawled out was Zhu Yang, the high and mighty Deputy Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall. The Deputy Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall almost died. The entire Z-Way City was in an uproar. This matter concerned the Ancestral Hall, and a Deputy Hall Master was still alive. This made everyone tremble. He, Zhu Yang, was a peak expert in the universe. Who could injure him like this? It's this old thing. What happened to him? Why are his injuries so serious? Su Yin could recognize Zhu Yang even if he turned into ashes. He wanted nothing more than to kill Zhu Yang. However, the Ancestral Hall's experts in the auction site had already killed their way over. They sealed off the place from the inside out, strictly preventing anyone from attacking Zhu Yang. Zhu Yang was almost exhausted. His body was filled with terrifying killing intent. He kept coughing up bloody dregs. He had almost died on the way here. He had never thought that the remnant soldiers of the Ancestral Hall would still have the battle strength of their heyday. Chapter 382. Z-Way City was abuzz with discussion. Zhu Yang was the Vice Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall, and from the looks of it, he was exhausted. What kind of enemy had he encountered? Throughout the vast universe, only a peak faction would have the ability and courage to injure the Vice Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall to such an extent. Z-Way Planet was a city in the sky. Killing intent spread out, and the temperature within the city plummeted. Many cultivators felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave, their blood about to freeze. Now, the area where Zhu Yang was had become a forbidden zone. The Ancestral Hall powerhouses who came out of the auction took out their killing weapons, suppressing the sky and preventing anyone from attacking Zhu Yang. He needs Saint Medicine. This is troublesome. We didn't bring any Saint Medicine for healing. The Ancestral Hall powerhouses were all anxious. Although they had brought Saint Medicine to compete for the dragonization fruit, the medicinal efficacy was too strong. Zhu Yang was severely injured and couldn't withstand the torment. But if they missed the best time to heal, Zhu Yang would undoubtedly die. This was the Vice Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall. If he really died, it would be a heavy blow to the Ancestral Hall. A Saint Medicine that could bring the dead back to life? Who would be willing to take it out? Even if the Ziwei sect had such a saint medicine, they still needed the old ancestors' approval. But going back and forth would waste a lot of time. This old thing, is he going to exhaust himself to death? Su Yin watched from the side. He saw Zhu Yang constantly coughing up blood, his aura falling to the extreme. His mangled body was slowly cracking apart. This was an internal injury that was difficult to heal. Halt! Anyone who dares to approach will be killed. An ancestral hall powerhouse was enraged. He drew a killing sword and pointed it at Shui Guan, who was walking towards them. The surrounding people were puzzled. Why did Shui Guan run out here? Did he not know what the current situation was? Zhu Yang was on the verge of death. The ancestral hall would not allow any unsafe factors to approach this area. I have a saint medicine for healing. It can heal the Vice Hall Master. Shui Guanlong strode forward like a tiger. His body was bathed in divine light as he walked towards the heavenly deity. With every step he took, his aura became a bit more powerful. His body also released a boundless reserve that illuminated the heavens. At this moment, Shui Guan's divine might was overwhelming. With every move he made, he released a supreme aura of those in the same generation, causing the expressions of the surrounding spectators to turn pale. They felt as if they were facing a great Dao realm expert. What is Shui Guan? His foundation is truly terrifying and unfathomable. I can't see through him. Some people were endlessly shocked because they couldn't see through Shui Guan at all. He was like a boundless abyss, unfathomable. He stood between heaven and earth, his radiance illuminating the world. It was as if he had become the eternal main character of this world, causing the older generation to pale in comparison. Would the future Shui Guan become one of the main characters of this era? What young man? Who are you? The countenances of the experts from the ancestral hall changed slightly. The foundation of this young man was too terrifying. He hadn't even stepped out of the great Dao realm, yet he already possessed such might. In the future, he would definitely be an incredible supreme hero who would have the right to fight against the overlords of the various pinnacle forces. It's brother Shui Guan. Quickly let him in. Zhu Sheng was overjoyed when he heard this. Shui Guan had obtained the inheritance of a major figure, and he might have inherited the inheritance of a major figure. Zhu Sheng wasn't surprised that he could take out a healing, saintly medicine. The countenances of the people from some forces changed slightly. The ancestral hall had always been domineering in their actions, especially this Zhu Yang. Back then, when they were pursuing the experts from the burial region, they had caused a huge disaster. Who knew how many innocent people had been massacred, and numerous ancient planets with life had been wiped out? There were some people who wished for nothing more than for him to die right now. However, if Shui Guan really took out a healing, saintly medicine, it could really save his life. Wang, under the gazes of everyone in the surroundings, a fruit that was as white as snow was taken out by him. It was like white jade, snow white, and crystalline. One couldn't tell how strong its medicinal effects were. However, this fruit was spewing out saintly light that was dazzling and resplendent. Jade pear, although it can't be considered a saintly medicine, is a healing, saintly treasure. The ancestral hall powerhouse was overjoyed. This was an extremely common spirit fruit, but a jade pear that had evolved into a saintly medicine left them overjoyed. The alchemy aristocratic families were very clear that the jade pear was a fruit with an extremely mild medicinal effect. This fruit that had evolved into a saintly medicine was definitely thousands of times more effective than an ordinary jade pear. This was something that even the older generation coveted. Just what kind of heavenly paradise could grow a jade pear saintly medicine? The miser was increasingly certain of his judgment. A jade pear that had evolved into a saintly medicine? That was too difficult. Only a rare heavenly paradise could grow such a saintly medicine. If Shui Guan could take it out so easily, then his background couldn't be underestimated. Allow me. The ancestral hall powerhouse received the jade pear from Shui Guan. He carefully examined it and determined that there was no danger. He took out a small jade knife and cut open the pear. The medicinal efficacy of the jade pear sprinkled out, a blinding light gushing out. Extremely rich heaven and earth spiritual energy poured out. It was like sweet dew from the highest heavens. This sacred liquid that had been sealed for countless years sprinkled down. Zhu Yang's tattered body began to shine. The effects of the jade pear were astonishing and even mild. Billowing vitality wrapped around Zhu Liang's tattered body, causing his declining life force to slowly recover. Bang! Suddenly, terrifying fluctuations began to spread out from Zhu Liang's tattered body. It was like true dragons were rampaging through his body. This terrifying destructive strength caused Zhu Liang's tattered body to violently tremble, as if it would break apart at any moment. This is bad. The Ancestral Hall powerhouse was enraged. This was a wound left behind by an enemy. Bloodline of the burial region, I will find all of you and grind your bones to dust. Zhu Liang roared out in grief. His tattered body began to shine. With the help of the jade pear's medicinal efficacy, he recovered a bit of his blood essence, completely destroying the enemy's mark that had been dormant in his body. Puff! Zhu Liang violently coughed out a mouthful of blood. His aura had weakened to the extreme. If it weren't for the jade pear's medicinal efficacy still burning in his body, he would have already died. The surrounding cultivators all trembled. They never thought that this would happen. Zhu Liang's injuries were related to the bloodline of the burial region. Was a faction that had disappeared for over 100 years about to resurface? Or had the bloodline of the burial region recovered some of its vitality? The bloodline of the burial region. The Dark Nether faction powerhouse's expression was gloomy. This faction was too difficult to eradicate. They had spent countless years but still failed to eradicate it. Little friend, do you have any more jade pears? The Ancestral Hall powerhouse asked. If it weren't for Shui Guan taking out the jade pear, Zhu Liang would already be dead. Shui Guan shook his head with a grave expression. He said, I only have one, but from what I can see, the Vice Hall Master's injuries shouldn't be that bad. He should be able to recover after some rest. Even so, Zhu Liang's injuries were difficult to heal in a short period of time. Moreover, it was difficult for him to move his body, so the risk was great. This old thing probably won't die. There's still a portion of the jade pear's medicinal efficacy that's keeping him alive. Iron Rooster transmitted, what a pity. If it weren't for the jade pear, this old thing would already be on his way. Suyin clenched his fists. His heart was pounding. He really wanted to know the current situation of the burial region. He wanted to know if they had escaped unscathed or if the Ancestral Hall powerhouses were still hunting them down. These people shouldn't be able to see my appearance. Z Xioning's treasure and the force armor should be enough to hide my identity. If I sneak into the Ancestral Hall, I'll definitely be able to get the news. Zhu Yang must have been injured by my clan's powerhouses. The Ancestral Hall's battleships should have been hunting them down a while ago. Suyin instantly made up his mind. He lifted his foot and walked toward the heavily guarded area. Kid, what are you doing? Iron Rooster transmitted, don't do anything rash. Even if you kill Zhu Yang, you won't be able to escape from the Z-Wei galaxy. Suyin knew the risk was great. If he wasn't careful, he could lose his life. However, he also had a certain degree of confidence. Only by approaching the core of the Ancestral Hall could he understand the current situation of the burial region. Who are you? Seeing Su Yin walking toward them, the Ancestral Hall powerhouses were on high alert. This is Xia Kunlun, Brother Xia, Shui Guan said calmly. His eyes looked at Su Yin, as if he was trying to convey his goodwill. He wanted to befriend him. Quick, let Brother Xia in. Zhu Sheng was pleasantly surprised. He was the disciple of a mighty figure. Perhaps he had a way to improve Zhu Liang's condition. The disciple of a mighty figure? The Ancestral Hall powerhouses quickly understood. They were shocked and hurriedly called out to Su Yin. They thought that since Shui Guan had the jade pear, Su Yin should have something good. Su Yin's eyes scanned Zhu Yang. He flicked his sleeves, and one after another, a vast amount of origin energy flowed out. They were like streaks of dazzling starlight, surrounded by the great Dao Dragon Veins Qi. Thousands of strands of great Dao dragon vein qi flowed out like dragons. This is the great Dao origin energy. The ancestral hall powerhouses were overjoyed. This item was not as valuable as the sacred medicine, but Zhu Liang urgently needed this energy. It could stabilize his injuries and even recover some of his losses. Under everyone's gazes, the great Dao origin energy entered Zhu Liang's damaged body. His pale face regained some color, and his weak life essence grew stronger. This scene made the ancestral hall powerhouses heave a sigh of relief. His condition was much better. Zhu Sheng was extremely excited. "Thank you, Brother Xia. I will never forget this kindness." "You're welcome," Su Yin said nonchalantly. "It's nothing. Unfortunately, the great Dao origin energy is too little." Whether it was Shueguan or Xia Kunlun, they both made the ancestral hall powerhouses feel grateful. Zhu Liang's injuries were much better, and he could barely move his body. He was not as weak as before. This guy, he doesn't know what Force Daozu's hall is, right? He's overbearing and vicious. How could he save this Vice Hall Master Zhu Liang? I heard that he had massacred many life ancient planets. He's a great villain. Liang Yan frowned. His good impression of Su Yin was gone. He felt that this person was just a person who wanted to curry favor with the ancestral hall. There were too many forces in the universe that wanted to form a relationship with the ancestral hall. "Return to the family immediately," an ancestral hall powerhouse said. "The Vice Hall Master's injuries cannot be delayed." "No," an expert shook his head. "The journey is a bit far. I don't feel safe using the Starry Sky Array. The Vice Hall Master can't take too much trouble. I think we should go to the Purple Sun Temple." "Yes, to the Purple Sun Temple," Zhu Sheng said quickly. The temple was not far from the Ziwei segmentum. After all, it was an important place of the ancestral hall. It was very suitable for Zhu Liang to recover. The Cosmos Business Alliance can prepare a battleship for the Vice Hall Master. Zi Xuansu hurried over. She could not wait to form a relationship with the ancestral hall. How could she let go of this opportunity? A purple battleship quickly crossed over. It was the battleship that Su Yin and the others were on. This battleship's defense was very strong. The ancestral hall could rest assured if they used the Cosmos Business Alliance's battleship. "Brother Shueguan, Brother Kunlun, why don't you come with me to the Purple Sun Temple?" Zhu Sheng walked over very enthusiastically. These two would definitely be influential figures of the younger generation in the future. He wanted to make friends with them. Moreover, he had saved Zhu Liang this time. They would definitely be friends in the future and not enemies. "I don't have anything to do. I can go to the top-level temple to take a look. I really don't know what this level of temple is like." Su Yin thought for a while and said, if they were going to the ancestral hall's ancestral land, he would definitely not go. But now that Zhu Liang was going to the Purple Sun Temple to recover, Su Yin felt that this was an opportunity. Haha, it definitely can't compare to the Almighty Temple. Zhu Sheng then asked Shueguan, "Brother Shueguan, what do you think?" "Fortunately, I'm fine. I also want to take a look." Chapter 383. Su Yin never thought that they would choose to go to Purple Sun Daoist Rite. He really wanted to take a look at the Daoist rite that was once established by a supreme being of the burial domain. After all, a mere spot was sold at such a high price. It was definitely not an ordinary place. Su Yin was originally prepared to gain Zhu Sheng's trust, but he never thought that he would sneak into Purple Sun Daoist Rite. That was the gathering place of the ancestral hall's core disciples. How wonderful would it be? Miser was scared witless. He felt that he was about to enter a wolf's den. Once Su Yan's identity was exposed, there would be no end to it. The universe ship set off. Purple Sun Daoist Rite wasn't too far from here. They only needed to travel for 4 hours to reach their destination. This old thing's status is really high. Along the way, Su Yin saw that the ancestral hall's powerhouses didn't hesitate to consume their life essence to nourish Zhu Liang's injured body. However, his injuries were too severe and it would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. He would need a rest for a period of time. The atmosphere was heavy along the way. Su Yin felt that now wasn't the time. If he kept asking about the situation of the burial domain, he He feared that they would question Xia Kunlun's identity. For hours quickly passed. A purple battleship had already arrived at its destination. From far away, Su Yin could see a Taoist rite that blazed like a purple sun. It hung in the universe and was many times more resplendent than the sun. Purple Sun Taoist rite was a famous top-notch rite. It was heavily guarded and was considered the Ancestral Hall's core resource area. More accurately speaking, the Violet Sun Tao rite was rooted on top of a violet star. The Tao rite was burning like a brilliant sun, and it gushed with violet divine light that was like a tide. It was resplendent and dazzling, and there were thick and large violet-colored dragon-shaped vital essence leaping about. Although he was only at the periphery, Su Yin could already sense a terrifying aura of the great Tao. This purple sun Taoist rite was like a vast sea of the great Tao rising and falling. The divine sound of the great Tao rumbled and spread throughout the entire star. The aura was solemn and divine. A large number of Ancestral Hall powerhouses escorted Zhu Liang into Purple Sun Taoist rite. Su Yin and Shuiguan stood outside and observed Purple Sun Taoist rite. Both of them were very calm. Fellow Taoists, what do you think of our dojo? Zhu Shang felt a lot more at ease and said with a smile, our Ancestral Hall has a total of 3 top Taoist arenas in the outside world. Each of these arenas has the fortune of the heavens and earth and are very suitable for comprehending the Tao. An excellent paradise, Shuiguan replied. The information that Zhu Shang revealed was actually a demonstration of the Ancestral Hall's foundation. Just outside the Ancestral Hall, there were already 3 top Tao arenas. Then, what kind of paradise was inside the Ancestral Hall? Su Yin stood with his hands behind his back. His sleeves fluttered in the wind. His temperament was otherworldly as he surveyed the Purple Sun Taoist grounds and said, for what I can see, this Taoist grounds is like an abyss. It should be in an independent world. However, the space here is faintly unstable. A strange light flashed through Shuiguan's eyes when he heard that. He said, Brother Kunlun, you truly have a unique insight. I didn't even sense it, but you noticed it with a single glance. Have you already comprehended the grand Tao of space? Admirable. Zhu Sheng was even more speechless. He said, Brother Kunlun is right. This top Tao ground won't be able to exist for too long. After all, a long time has passed, and the creations inside are about to be exhausted. Even if it is a minor world created by a supreme existence, it cannot last forever. If it wasn't for this, the Ancestral Hall wouldn't have taken out a spot to auction. Perhaps there would be more spots in the future because this place was no longer safe. I only touched it a bit, Su Yin calmly said. However, this supreme existence that created a minor world is also extraordinary. The Purple Sun Taoist grounds has existed for millions of years, right? This method is truly terrifying. So what if it is terrifying? Didn't our Ancestral Hall still obtain it? Zhu Sheng proudly said, this top Tao ground has nurtured countless heroes for our Ancestral Hall. Over the years, there have always been the most outstanding prodigies of our Ancestral Hall in closed-door training. Even now, there are still many amazing geniuses inside. Those that could be called geniuses by Zhu Sheng were, without exception, the strongest of the strong. They were also known as the young overlords and were the focus of the Ancestral Hall's nurturing. The future pillar of the Ancestral Hall might even be the Vice Hall Master of the Ancestral Hall. How could the Ancestral Hall not be willing to spend resources to nurture them? Zhu Sheng and the other rising stars of the Ancestral Hall would receive the best cultivation resources from the Ancestral Hall. Zhu Sheng, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and bring these 2 young friends into the Tao ground. At the entrance of the Tao ground, an Ancestral Hall expert walked out. He had a white face and no beard. Although he looked old, his aura was like a giant dragon. He was one of the leaders of the Purple Sun Taoist grounds, an outer sect elder of the Ancestral Hall. Elder Zhu Sheng. Zhu Sheng walked up to greet him. He smiled and said, I am just introducing the history of the Purple Sun Taoist grounds to you 2 brothers. How could I dare to neglect you? That's good. Zhu Sheng nodded slightly. He looked at Su Yin and Shueguan with goodwill. Towards these two dragons and phoenixes of the younger generation, he had already heard of them and did not dare to neglect them. He smiled and said, "Two young friends have come from so far away. Pardon me for not going out to meet you." "Haha, elder is too polite." Su Yin cupped his hands and walked up with a smile. "So, I came over to take a look at how the Apex Dao ground looks like. Seeing it today, it is indeed extraordinary. No wonder the Ancestral Hall has always been strong since ancient times and is in charge of so many treasure grounds. How can it be comparable to the Dao grounds of powerful existences?" Zhu Shun laughed. "Two young friends, please come in. There are many matters to attend to these few days. If there is any neglect, I hope the two of you will not take offense." "Elder, what are you saying?" Shueguan walked in with a majestic gait, saying, "We are the ones who have disturbed you. We are all family. There is no need for such polite words. Two Dao brothers, please come in." The group of people stepped on a time-space path and arrived at the Purple Sun Taoist grounds. That auspicious scene that filled the sky, the vast ripples of the great Tao, and the vigorous cosmos god energy rolled over. At the moment when Su Yin breathed, it felt like he was inhaling layers of blazing essence. It felt like he was swallowing mouthfuls of liquid. His heart was filled with astonishment. What sort of paradise was this? It was simply like a celestial ground. Since the apex Tao grounds were so strong, how strong was the deity mountain range that Miser Rooster mentioned? Following that, Su Yin discovered layers of powerful primordial spirit ripples surging over from all directions. They swept over him, but it only flashed before disappearing without a trace. These two are unfathomable. They are apex overlords of the younger generation. Within the Purple Sun Taoist grounds, there were many experts. On top of an immemorial mountain, a group of experts from the Ancestral Hall sat cross-legged. Someone said they're worth roping in. In the future, they might become the left and right arms of Zhang Zhu Tian. That's right. The world knows of the four great heavenly supremes, yet they have forgotten about our clan's Zhu Tian. It seems Zhu Tian has been in seclusion for too long. Hee, it's just a false reputation. When the ancient road to the primal chaos ruins opens in the future, our clan's ancestral hall is destined to be glorious and number one. That's right. We can let Xia Kunlun and Shueguan enter our clan's Dao grounds to cultivate for a period of time. An important figure from the ancestral hall said indifferently, "If we form good karma, it will be easier to rope them in the future." Although Apex Overlords have the arrogance of Apex Overlords, once the ancient road to the primal chaos ruins opens, this arrogance will disappear without a trace. While these experts were discussing, Su Yin and the rest had already arrived at the depths of the Dao grounds. There were many natural treasures growing here. Stalks of ancient herbs were growing healthily. There were also mutated beasts roaming about, breathing in and out multicolored light. There were also large dragon veins underground that spat out life essence. In the distance, there were mountains that had a few palaces built on them. It was grand and imposing. Su Yin could already feel that in the Purple Sun Taoist grounds, there were many experts from the Ancestral Hall gathered. In some of the Tao palaces, there were also important figures from the Ancestral Hall cultivating. This small world opened up by an almighty might be a little unstable, but with the current situation, it wouldn't be difficult to hold on for more than 100 years. This is really a rare land of treasures. Su Yan's heart was burning. He couldn't wait to take away all the treasures in the Purple Sun Taoist grounds. After all, it was the core region of the Ancestral Hall. There were all kinds of natural treasures here. Along the way, Zhu Sheng introduced the Purple Sun Taoist grounds to them. The palaces built here were all cultivation residences. If one was lucky enough to comprehend the great Tao imprints in the Purple Sun Taoist grounds, they might succeed in comprehending the Tao. This was the most precious treasure that couldn't be bought with money. However, once the space in the Purple Sun Taoist grounds collapsed, everything would be gone. It's a pity for this Tao grounds. The wealth that the burial region left for us is about to be used up. Zhu Sheng said regretfully. Brothers, you can cultivate in seclusion in the cultivation residences for a period of time and comprehend the great Tao power in the Tao grounds. If you're lucky, you might be able to step into the great Tao realm directly. I'm afraid I won't be able to stay here for long. Master gave me some instructions that I still have to take care of, Su Yin said. Hearing this, Zhu Sheng hurriedly said, Brother, don't be anxious. After all, you and Brother Shuiguan saved my father. No matter what, my father has to express his gratitude. Now, he needs to cultivate in seclusion, and it will take some time before he comes out. I hope Brother Kunlun can stay for a few more days. I wonder how many of the burial region survivors are left. Zhu Sheng said hatefully, It's really impossible to kill them all. It said that some of the survivors have been discovered, and we will be able to lock onto their positions soon. Brother Kunlun, Brother Shuiguan, Zhu Sheng said seriously. Our Ancestral Hall's experts are busy with these matters now. I reckon they will be able to confirm it in a few days. It won't be too late to leave after we understand this matter. I'm preparing to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. I can stay in the Purple Sun Taoist grounds for a few months, Shuiguan replied. Fine, I haven't seen what the burial region's people look like, so I'll stay and observe. Su Yin hesitated for a while and said, which made Zhu Sheng overjoyed, That's great. Brothers, you can rest assured and settle down. I'm going to take a look at my father's place of recuperation. Follow me. I'll bring you to your cultivation residence. If you have any requests, just let me know. Soon, Zhu Sheng brought them to a mountain with a hazy aura of the great Tao. There were dozens of palaces on top of it, and all of them were places of seclusion for the younger generation. Every cultivation room also had methods to seize the fortune of heaven and earth. It was very suitable for cultivation. Su Yin entered the palace. The heaven and earth essence inside was even more exuberant, and it was filled with a sacred atmosphere. Su Yin sat cross-legged. With a swing of his sleeve, one formation flag after another was inserted in all directions. This was the 9 Extremes formation. If Shuiguan saw this scene, he might hesitate. After all, this 9 Extremes formation was taken away by Su Yin from the Shui family. It was an extremely terrifying, killing formation. However, although the 9 Extremes formation was rare, it wasn't to the extent of being extinct. Especially Zhu Sheng, who wanted to observe Su Yin, shook his head and retracted his spiritual perception. He thought to himself, to take out a 9 Extremes formation so casually, this Xia Kunlun's foundation is really immeasurable. He might really be the disciple of a powerful existence. Within the 9 Extremes formation, Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened, and killing intent shot out in all directions. He suppressed the anger in his heart. It was useless to be anxious now. He had to wait for the right time before he could head to his destination to find his people. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for a few days. I have the Heaven and Earth Source Serum. In a few days, I can repair the damage of the Heavenly Refining Cauldron and reach another level in the Transcendence Realm. There's also the Force Armor. I wonder if the Broken Cauldron can repair the Force Armor's damage. Even if it can't, the Force Armor is enough for me to have the battle prowess of a holy sage. I have the Dragon Totem, Force Armor, and 9 Extremes formation. Even if it's a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, I can still go through it. As long as I don't meet someone as strong as Zhu Yang, I can escape unscathed. Even the Dragon Totem can definitely kill the heavily injured Zhu Yang. Chapter 384. Su Yin took out the cauldron. It was a simple and unadorned bronze cauldron surrounded by a clear light. It was mysterious and astonishing, able to isolate even the demonic fog. It even had a special ability that could restore the divine energy of various treasures. Restoring the energy of treasures? It was not difficult, as long as the expert was willing to spend time and effort. However, the broken cauldron was different. It could directly extract the divine energy contained within the ores and restore the divine energy of treasures. It was truly miraculous. Su Yin took out a batch of godly materials and threw them into the broken cauldron. He solemnly took out the Force Armor and placed it into the broken cauldron. The cauldron glowed and could operate on its own. It was like a cauldron of fortune, extracting the essence of the godly materials and nourishing the force armor. Suyin did not know how strong the force armor was. The only thing that could make the dragon totem erupt with extreme power was something that he felt was worth more than this. I wonder what kind of secret this cauldron holds. Suyin muttered in his heart, "Zitai, this dog, is shameless. He wants to snatch my treasure cauldron. I guess this thing has a great origin. Could it be that the Z clan had some relationship with our burial region in the distant past?" Suyin pondered for a while, and his gaze fell on the purple heart lotus seeds. There were 3 purple lotus seeds, each of them sparkling like purple jade. They were surrounded by a purple light, and the energy contained within had amazing effects on the primordial spirit. They were treasures that Suyin wanted very much. I wonder how far my primordial spirit can be improved with these 3 purple heart lotus seeds. Suyin's forehead was translucent, and golden light filled the air. The sound of Sanskrit chants could be heard. A small golden figure walked out from his sea of consciousness. It was very lifelike, but as it awakened, it was like a golden sun shining. A divine ring formed behind its head, emitting a sacred Buddhist light. Suyin's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in the void, filled with spatial qi. His primordial spirit was like a great Buddha, majestic and dignified, shining with golden light. Suyin's primordial spirit opened its mouth and swallowed one of the purple heart lotus seeds. Its medicinal effect was amazing. It nourished Suyin's primordial spirit body, and the soul qi contained within it surged rapidly. Yuan miraculous medicine was very rare in the first place. This purple heart lotus seed was a rare treasure. His primordial spirit swallowed one seed after another. When 3 seeds were completely refined, Suyin's primordial spirit fiercely shook. Buddhist light overflowed into the sky, and 7-colored divine light shot out in all directions. It was as if he had turned into an eminent monk of Buddhism. What a powerful purple heart lotus seed. It strengthened my primordial spirit by so much. Suyin opened his eyes and felt that the yin-yang fish was not wasted. After all, that thing was already of little use to him. Now, these 3 purple heart lotus seeds had caused Suyin's primordial spirit to soar, and his perception to increase by a notch. This was very important. Regardless of whether it was facing an enemy, comprehending the Tao, or comprehending a divine ability, it would play a crucial role. Let's start. Suyin took a deep breath and took out the Heavenly Source Serum. A total of 5 jars of Heavenly Source Serum. Suyin still felt the pinch when he thought about the price he had paid. He really wanted to see just how powerful this Heavenly Source Serum was. Suyin gulped down the entire jar of Heavenly Source Serum like a cow. If an outsider saw this scene, they would definitely be tongue-tied. This was because the medicinal power of the Heavenly Source Serum was very strong. It was the crystallization of the essence of heaven and earth. If a cultivator with a weak physical body swallowed it rashly, their physical body would explode. Suyin did not care, but this jar made his physical body feel as if it was on fire. His body was filled with scorching heat, burning his organs to the point of rupturing. His skin turned red, and he finally spat out fire. It was too vigorous. This medicinal power was so strong that it was simply unreasonable. Refine. Suyin growled and closed his pores, mouth, and nose. The great Tao heavenly furnace revolved. Suyin's physical body roared as if a furnace was born. A giant heavenly furnace image appeared behind him. Under the great Tao heavenly furnace state, his treasure body glowed and seized the fortune of heaven and earth for his own use. Even the tyrannical medicinal power of the Heavenly Genesis Serum was being refined by Su Yin as it surged and seeped into his limbs and bones. Replenish the weakness and repair the heavenly furnace's scars. Su Yin began to cultivate in seclusion. The medicinal power of the Heavenly Source Serum was so strong that it penetrated Su Yan's body. With every hour that passed, Su Yan's aura became stronger. Even the flaws in his body began to be repaired. In this way, Jar after jar of heavenly source serum was consumed. After more than a day, Su Yin drank all the heavenly source serum and refined it all. More than 5,000 kilograms of heavenly essence stones were thrown out just like that. On the other hand, Su Yin had been silent all this time. Under the great Tao heavenly furnace state, he sealed his physical body and turned it into a heavenly furnace, nourishing his body with the heavenly source serum. When the second day came, waves of sound waves appeared, shaking the entire palace. Fortunately, the 9-extreme array was here, so the sound didn't spread out. Inside the palace, thousands of golden ripples surged, boiling and roaring in the void. Su Yin's body was unsealed. His pores spat out thousands of layers of golden light. The essence and blood in his body surged like huge waves. His whole body was dazzling. His essence and blood were vigorous and vast, burning like a divine furnace. The blazing aura made the void as dark as ink. It faintly couldn't bear his aura and began to burn itself. Swish! Su Yin opened his eyes. His eyes were like lightning, shocking people's souls. He didn't say a word. He sat cross-legged in the void, as if he had become a part of heaven and earth. Su Yin's combat strength was also activated to the extreme. He was like a hidden dragon rising from the abyss. There was a terrifying strength that penetrated the starry sky that was about to drill out from his back. Just as Su Yin was about to draw his bow and unleash his power, he sensed a vague and world-shaking aura in this world. To be exact, in the entire purple sun Taoist ground, there was a true dragon that had been lying here for millions of years. This aura was very ancient and terrifying, but it was also very unstable. Su Yin instantly understood that this was the energy of the purple sun Taoist ground. It was a kind of energy that existed in this small world. It was like a kind of Tao fruit that caused Su Yin's blood to boil. My race's inheritance. Su Yin clenched his fists. Excitement appeared in his eyes. Countless years had passed. Although the ancestral hall controlled the purple sun Taoist ground, it was a pity that they didn't obtain the most precious treasure, which was the supreme great Tao in the purple sun Taoist ground. Su Yin felt as if he was looking at a giant that had been sleeping for tens of thousands of years. He was like the most terrifying dragon in the world. Su Yin sensed his energy. It was very frightening, as if the universe would tremble in front of his power. This was a kind of pressure that could crush eternity and shatter time. It was a peerlessly terrifying source of power that could look down on the past, present, and future. Su Yin was shocked. In his world of perception, in front of this kind of godly power, Su Yin seemed insignificant. He was like an ant that could only be looked up at. This was an inheritance. Su Yin was easily immersed in it. Because of the opportunity he had in the stone pagoda, Su Yin's understanding of the body cultivation system had reached a new level. It was true that the supreme, great Tao of this small world was so vast that it was difficult for people to understand it. However, Su Yin, as a member of the burial realm race, could still sense the supreme, great Tao fruit. It was like a terrifying imprint that was branded in his sea of consciousness. However, in Su Yin's world, the magnificent godly power that seemed to cover the entire universe became more and more blurry, as if it was about to dissipate. Sigh. Su Yin sighed. However, his body glowed. The originally powerful physical body of the Dharma idol blazed once again. He actually took a small step forward, and his spine exploded with waves of dragon roars. You can actually strengthen your physical body? Tai Rooster was speechless. That's too abnormal. Why was there such a terrifying aura of the great Tao just now? Kid, what kind of good stuff did you get? Could it be that you took away the supreme, great Tao inheritance of Purple Sun Dojo? Su Yin sighed and told him about his experience. The inheritance you saw was blurry. Tai Rooster's face darkened. You're too late. 1,000,000 years have passed, and the cultivation of a supreme being can't last forever. As time passes, it will slowly dissipate. What you sensed must be a supreme being's inheritance. What a pity. Su Yin was secretly shocked. This was the strength of the immortal spiritual mountain range. This was the foundation of a top dojo. This was the reason why the pinnacle forces were so strong since ancient times. I think so, Su Yin said fiercely. I seem to be able to get a blurry inheritance too. Although the effect isn't great, I don't want the inheritance to dissipate like this. After all, this is a great Tao imprint left behind by an expert of my race. The cultivators of the ancestral hall couldn't get it, because only the people of the burial region could get the recognition of the inheritance. Only then could they sense the inheritance through their bloodline. Don't act recklessly. There will be a big mess when the time comes, and it will definitely be exposed. Tai Rooster said hurriedly. After all, Su Yin and Shuiguan had just arrived, and there was already a mess. People would definitely suspect them. I need the Worldly Source Serum, or even the Saint-Grade Worldly Source Serum. I can still strengthen it, but this thing is too rare. It's a limited resource, and it's not easy to sell even if you have money. If I had known, I would have bought all 10 jars at the auction. Su Yin desired a large amount of the Worldly Source Serum. The Saint-Grade Worldly Source Serum's effect was naturally more shocking. However, how many people could have it? There was no place to buy it. Bam! At this moment, the door of the palace was slammed by waves of vigorous palm energy. Su Yan's face darkened. Who was this? If someone disturbed him while he was comprehending the Tao, it would be a fatal threat. Get out of there. Which blind fool is this? How dare you cultivate in the training hall? Don't you know who the master of the training hall is? Come out, and I'll skin you alive. Someone shouted angrily outside the door. His voice was so loud that it even spread in all directions, alarming some of the disciples who were in seclusion. This bastard is too bold. How dare he make a fuss here? The Mountain Guardian Elder's face changed drastically. Inside was either Shuiguan or Xia Kunlun. These two were giants among people they wanted to rope in. If they were disturbed in their seclusion, how could they rope them in the future? Stop! Zhu Sheng's face turned even uglier. He hurriedly ran out, afraid that something would happen to his esteemed guest. Chapter 385. This palm was like a bolt from the blue, shaking the heavens and scattering the clouds in all directions. Su Yan's golden palm contained a terrifying destructive force that caused the void to collapse as it struck towards a young man who was knocking on the door. This young man was arrogant and extremely insolent. He wasn't weak either, so he angrily knocked on the door. After all, it was a door forged from divine iron, so his knocking shook the heavens. However, this giant golden palm that stretched out made his hair stand on end, and a trace of fear drilled out of his body. Stop! The divine might contained in this palm was too terrifying. Before it even reached him, the divine might emanating from Su Yan's palm had already caused him to tremble all over. His body collapsed and was about to explode into pieces. Good fellow, this Xia Kunlun is truly extraordinary. The Mountain Guardian Elder was stunned. The group of Ancestral Hall disciples who had rushed over were also shocked. They could all see that the person who attacked was only using the strength of his physical body. Could it be a new Ancestral Hall disciple? Master, save me! Ding Jian cried out, his eyes filled with fear. It was also at this moment that a palm stretched out from a distance. The resplendent and blazing sky blue palm was as hard as divine gold. It instantly slashed forward and collided with the golden palm that Su Yin had waved over. Pung! A great shockwave erupted as energy rippled outwards, shaking the entire mountain. Humph! A blue-clothed youth pressed forward with a powerful aura. His handsome face flashed with a trace of coldness. The moment his combat strength was unsealed, the divine might within his body rose and fell like a blue sea, accompanied by the sound of thunder. Body cultivator lineage. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a strange light. At the same time, he formed a fist seal with his palm. Although Su Yan's physical body had yet to step into the quasi-Dao realm, his pure physical strength was powerful enough to defy the heavens. A fist punched out, releasing a golden radiance as his blood essence roiled like a raging sea. The mountain-protecting elders were all shocked. The fist and palm collided, producing tens of thousands of lightning bolts, shaking the entire Great Peak until it was trembling. Many palaces were shaking as well. The shock waves were too shocking. Buzz. The blue-robed man's eyes flashed with a trace of fierceness. The essence blood in his body surged like a huge volcano. It was very blazing. His palm struck out again. It was like a hand holding up the sky, pressing down on the dome of heaven. A terrifying aura spread out, and the blue-robed man's battle prowess skyrocketed. Once again, he waved his palm and suppressed Su Yin. Boom! Su Yin's pupils widened. His might was incomparably powerful. Multicolored lights surged on his golden fist, and his aura surged like a bull. Waves overflowed into the heavens, and layers of the void were burned down. It was as if a divine furnace was facing the attack, and lights surged. This was the third time they had clashed. Divine sounds rumbled through the heavens and earth, as if 100,000 horses were galloping. The energy ripples that surged out caused the surrounding cultivators to feel their blood tumble within their bodies, causing them to stagger backwards. The blue-robed man let out a low roar and was truly angered. He wanted to use a great divine ability to suppress Su Yin. Stop! The mountain guardian elder rushed over. He waved his hand and blocked the blue-robed man. The ancestral hall's younger generation seeds that were watching from all directions also rushed over. They were all alarmed as they looked at Su Yin with strange gazes. This fellow's mortal body was too terrifying. First of all, Zhu Jiwen was the fourth-ranked disciple of the ancestral hall's younger generation. He was born with a powerful mortal body and was highly regarded by the ancestral hall's senior elders. Zhu Sheng and the others were no match for Zhu Jiwen. Moreover, the amount of resources he received every year was not a small amount. Zhu Jiwen was most proud of the fact that he had stepped into the quasi-Dao realm with just the strength of his mortal body. But what had they just seen? Su Yin hadn't revolved his quasi-Dao realm cultivation, but with just the strength of his mortal body, he was able to block Zhu Jiwen's attack without falling into a disadvantageous position. This was truly terrifying. Dao Brother Kunlun, are you all right? Zhu Sheng asked. Why don't you ask him? Su Yin coldly sneered. If I hadn't shown mercy just now, would he still be alive? How dare you? Give me your life. Zhu Jiwen was furious, his eyes narrowing as he growled. Elder, get out of the way. I want to see just how he will show mercy. Is this how your ancestral hall treats its guests? Su Yin stood with his hands behind his back and shouted, I was in seclusion, yet you dared to disturb me. Isn't it just a lousy training ground? I really don't care about it. The surrounding ancestral hall's younger generation disciples were speechless. Lousy training ground? This was the top purple sun training ground. Just where did this fellow come from? He dared to act so unscrupulously in their ancestral hall's territory. Zhu Jiwen, shut your mouth. The mountain guardian elder was like an old lion as he reprimanded. This is our clan's honored guest. He even saved the Vice Hall Master and is the disciple of a supreme expert. A supreme expert's disciple. Zhu Jiwen's expression changed slightly. He really didn't know Su Yan's background, but the title of a supreme expert's disciple was truly terrifying. There weren't many ancient ancestors' personal disciples in the ancestral hall. Zhu Jiwen, you are too presumptuous. Zhu Sheng said with a sullen expression. Let's not talk about disturbing my honored guest, but a mere servant of yours actually has the qualifications to occupy a training ground. How preposterous! Ding Jian didn't dare to breathe too loudly. He knew that the Daozu Hall had sold 5 spots and thought that Su Yin was one of them. He didn't expect that he would bump into an iron plate. The Mountain Guardian Elder was also helpless. Some training grounds were left empty, and if they weren't used, it would be a waste. Normally, when Zhu Jiwen's followers used them, they would just turn a blind eye. However, they didn't expect this Ding Jian to be so arrogant and provoke Xia Kunlun. Zhu Jiwen's expression was uncertain. The Purple Sun Training Grounds experts secretly sent him sound transmissions, fiercely reprimanding him. At the same time, the Ancestral Hall's experts who were watching the battle were shocked. This Xia Kunlun's body was too strong. They even suspected that Xia Kunlun was a Grand Dao realm expert. However, when they thought of his identity, they felt relieved. After all, he was the disciple of a supreme expert. Perhaps only the top 3 disciples of the Ancestral Hall's younger generation could compete with him. I'm sorry, Dao Brother Kunlun. I have some matters to attend to. Zhu Jiwen could only swallow his anger and withdraw. This left the Ancestral Hall's younger generation Yingjie speechless. They never thought that Zhu Jiwen would be forced to leave. He had always been arrogant and proud. Su Yan's eyes also quickly looked around. There were more than 20 young disciples of the Ancestral Hall here, and their auras were all very powerful. It was rare to see Yingjie. Killing intent floated in his heart. He didn't know how much the Ancestral Hall would feel if he killed this group of people. Zhu Sheng's status was similar to theirs. The Ancestral Hall's younger generation seeds were all extraordinary. They all came to greet Su Yan with a very cordial attitude. What did you say? Zhu Jiwen obtained the Saint-grade Heavenly Source Plasma. Zhu Sheng's expression turned ugly. He never thought that Zhu Jiwen would obtain the Saint-grade Heavenly Source Plasma in just a few months after returning to the Ancestral Hall. What kind of terrifying resource was this? One couldn't obtain it even if they had money. Su Yan was shaken. This was the resource he longed for. It was something that could only be chanced upon and not sought. It had never appeared in an auction before. Even if it did, its price would be sky high. It was even more valuable than a divine tool. After all, it was a publicly recognized resource for nurturing the younger generation. It was a priceless resource. Even the Ancestral Hall's collection was limited. It was bestowed by a Vice Hall master who specialized in physique cultivation. Someone sighed. After hearing this, Zhu Sheng immediately became mute. There were strong and weak Vice Hall masters in the Ancestral Hall. He knew of a Vice Hall master who specialized in physique cultivation. His battle strength was peerless and terrifying. He was second to none in the Ancestral Hall. How many Vice Hall masters does your Ancestral Hall have? Su Yan was surprised. 5. Zhu Sheng didn't hide anything. This was no secret. Who was the Vice Hall master? Su Yan asked again. Zhu Sheng shook his head. The Ancestral Hall didn't have a Vice Hall master. He had never heard of such a thing. This made Su Yan horrified. No Vice Hall master? There were even 5 Vice Hall masters in the Ancestral Hall. There were also a lot of Grand Elders. The Ancestral Hall's foundation was truly terrifying. There were so many experts. No wonder they were always so overbearing. All right, is your father better? Su Yan asked again. How could it be so fast? It will be very difficult for him to travel outside without a few months. Zhu Sheng answered truthfully. He felt more and more that Su Yan was powerful. That move just now had caused the Ancestral Hall's expert's evaluation of him to skyrocket. However, Su Yan paid more attention to it. If the 4th-ranked disciple was this powerful, then wouldn't the top 3 disciples be even more monstrous? Dong dong dong. All of a sudden, the sound of the great Dao resounded throughout the entire Purple Sun Daoist grounds. It contained surging, killing swords that swept over like a tidal wave. What happened? The experts who were in seclusion woke up one after another. Killing intent shot out from their eyes. They heard the war drums that were calling them to go and help. Boom! In the distance, a blood-red battleship rushed over. It was like a blood-red mountain ridge rushing over. It emitted a bloody light and killing intent. It was like a blood-red beast that used a powerful pressure to intimidate people. From the battleship, an expert from the Ancestral Hall whose clothes were dyed in blood walked out. He coldly said, "Come out and help immediately. We have found the location of the remnants of the burial region's bloodline. We have already sealed off a large area of space. We need more people." These words were like thunder, exploding in Su Yan's heart. His breathing was somewhat heavy. The burial region's experts were surrounded by the Ancestral Hall. What should I do? Su Yan pondered. He didn't panic. He had to find a countermeasure. With his foundation, if it was really exposed, he would also lose his life. All right. In the Purple Sun Daoist grounds, a group of Ancestral Hall experts laughed loudly. Their auras were extremely powerful. They laughed loudly and said, I didn't expect that we would really find them. It seems like Vice Hall Master Zhu Liang has raised an iron-blooded cavalry. I wonder how many contributions they have made to our ancestral hall over the years. That's right. Now that the Vice Hall Master is recovering from his injuries, the mission of capturing the remnants of the burial region's bloodline will be left to us. Kill them. We must capture them alive. Chapter 386. The bloodlight from the battleship illuminated the sky, filling the entire Purple Sun Taoist field with killing intent. One after another, experts from the Ancestral Hall walked out from the Tao Palace and stepped into the field. They held their killing swords, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. They would not show mercy to the bloodline of the burial region. Moreover, they had caught a big fish this time. They were all laughing, their faces filled with cruelty. Someone laughed loudly. I haven't exercised my muscles for many years. Let's go and hunt. I wonder if we will meet someone familiar. We should try our best to capture a big fish alive and interrogate them for the whereabouts of the remaining soldiers of the bloodline of the burial region. We can catch them all in one fell swoop. Since we have already caught them, it shouldn't be difficult to capture them alive. Try not to kill them. Su Yin looked at the experts of the Ancestral Hall. His heart was not calm, and his blood was boiling with anger. The Ancestral Hall treated the people of the burial region as prey, using them to encircle and annihilate them. The blood of the burial region flowed in Su Yan's body. Hearing the words of the Ancestral Hall experts, Su Yan's heart felt like it was being pricked by needles. I didn't expect to catch a big fish. It seems like the Vice Hall Master was injured because of this big fish. To be able to injure the Vice Hall Master, it must be an important figure of the bloodline of the burial region. How many important figures do they have now? The bloodline of the burial region is not far from extinction. After so many years, under our Ancestral Hall's cavalry, they have either died or fled. The remaining ones are just some idiots. They can't see the general trend of the universe clearly. Let's make them wake up completely. Someone smiled coldly. Let's see who is the master of this universe. Some of the youngsters from the Ancestral Hall rubbed their palms. Someone said angrily, I want to grow quickly. After all, there are already very few prey left. I don't want the bloodline of the burial region to be completely wiped out by the time I become an expert. When that time comes, how can I add another stroke to my list of contributions? Zhu Sheng's eyes were filled with killing intent. If it weren't for the fact that they were weaker, they would have already killed their way over. Su Yin suppressed the anger in his heart and said to Zhu Sheng, I really want to see the experts of the bloodline of the burial region. Zhu Sheng, why don't we go take a look too? Su Yin wasn't sure if Zhu Sheng would go over. If Su Yin went, he would definitely bring him along. Although his cultivation was not high, Su Yin had the dragon totem and force armor. He would definitely be of help. If Zhu Sheng didn't go, Su Yin was prepared to do something else. Now, that Purple Sun Tao ground had sent out a large number of experts. There were very few experts left. Su Yin felt that he could take this opportunity to slaughter all the younger generation in the Ancestral Hall. Even now, Zhu Liang was still severely injured. If the Purple Sun Taoist shrine fell into chaos, they would definitely be able to indirectly support the experts of the burial region. Brother Kunlun, are you interested? Zhu Sheng hesitated for a while and said, It shouldn't be a problem, but I'm afraid it's too dangerous. After all, it's a battle between experts. If something happens, it won't be easy to deal with. Hearing that, Su Yin said disapprovingly, What danger can there be? I have a great killing weapon protecting me. Even if a deity were to come, he would have to die. That's true. Who is Brother Kunlun? How could you be hurt by a fish that escaped the net from the burial region? Zhu Sheng's eyes lit up and his heart was restless. He also wanted to go and see. Maybe he could make a contribution and even get the Saint Grade Heaven and Earth Source Plasma as a reward. This kind of resource was too rare. The Ancestral Hall treated it as a clan treasure. Without great contributions and outstanding talent, it was very difficult to get it. Zhu Sheng quickly walked over and found Zhu Shun, saying that he wanted to go with Xia Kunlun. What's the matter? Just come up. Zhu Shun was awe-inspiring. He had a lot of power in the Purple Sun Dojo. He said confidently, "The remaining warriors of the burial region have been surrounded by my clan. No matter how strong they won't be able to do anything. I'll take you to see them. After all, you will become your father's sharp sword in the future. You will be able to cut down the remaining warriors of the burial region. It seems that my clan is about to win a great victory." Zhu Sheng laughed and said to Xia Kunlun, "Taoist brother Kunlun, please. In the future, there will be fewer and fewer of these things. Perhaps you won't be able to see such a scene of powerhouses being hunted down again. You cannot miss this opportunity." Su Yan's heart was heavy. He stepped onto the battleship and sat down cross-legged. Within the blood-red battleship, there were a total of 8 powerhouses. The rest were Zhu Liang's subordinates. Although the battleship only contained a small group of soldiers from the Ancestral Hall, their combat strength was more than enough to deal with a grievously wounded remnant of the burial region. Wang, the blood-red battleship, released light. Dense spatial runes covered it. As it awakened, the boundless space began to twist. This battleship carried the Ancestral Hall powerhouses. Like a bolt of lightning, it tore through the heavens and began to travel towards its destination. "I have to survive." Su Yan clenched his fists. The destination wasn't far from here. With the blood-red battleship speed, it would take less than 2 hours to cross over. This was a dark red planet. Its territory was vast, about the same size as Alcade planet. But because its life aura was weak, it wasn't suitable for living or cultivating. Most of the continent was covered in mountains and forests. This planet rippled with a somber killing intent. Around the planet were layers upon layers of killing arrays that were activated. These were space-sealing array formations that were extremely valuable. The Ancestral Hall took out over a dozen such arrays, completely sealing up this planet to prevent the burial region powerhouse from escaping. It was clear that they wanted to capture him alive and not kill him. Otherwise, this dark red planet would have already been blown apart. "My clan's reinforcements have arrived." Around the giant planet, knights under Zhu Liang's command patrolled. Su Yan and the others had already arrived on the battleship. Cultivators with powerful auras stepped out from the battleship. They held killing swords in their hands and had grim expressions. "What is the situation now?" Zhu Shun asked. Reporting to Elder, the remnant burial region soldier has already been trapped on this planet. He is currently fighting like a cornered beast, but it is difficult for him to hide. If we want to dig him out and capture him alive, we will need to spend some time. A knight grinned. "The space around the planet has already been sealed by us. No matter how strong he is, he cannot escape. Now that all the elders have arrived, we are even more confident." "Well done. If we can capture this big fish alive, it will be a great merit for all of you." Zhu Shun laughed. "Immediately begin the search. I will personally lead troops and patrol the continent with the battleship. Within 3 days, I want to see this big fish imprisoned in the Ancestral Hall." "Yes, Elder. We will not disappoint you. We will capture the remnant burial region soldier alive." There were thousands of knights patrolling here, all of them shouting out in excitement. Their combat strength was strong, and they had all been through hundreds of battles. There were even powerhouses on the planet overseeing the various regions. They released their divine senses to investigate, not letting a single inch of land go. This was a carpet search. It was impossible to escape. Shua, the blood-colored battleship, set out again, rushing towards the planet. Su Yan's eyes fell on the vast territory. There were large cracks everywhere, and there was a thick smell of blood. Even the soil seemed to have been watered by blood. After a long time of precipitation, it was full of heavy pressure. "Why are there buildings?" Zhu Sheng was astonished. Could it be that this is an ancient planet that has lost its vitality? Zhu Shun revealed a reverent expression. The glory of our ancestors was left behind here. This used to be a resource ancient planet controlled by the burial region bloodline. Long ago, our clan slaughtered them until their corpses piled up like mountains. Blood flowed like rivers, and the dragon veins collapsed. Countless corpses once lay here. Gods wept and ghosts wept. Corpses were everywhere. As time passed, it became a dead planet. Zhu Shun and the others were full of pride. They looked back at the glorious battle of the Ancestral Hall. Back then, they had slaughtered countless ancient life planets related to the burial region bloodline. It was all for the sake of cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots. I really hoped to be one of them back then, to charge and break through the enemy lines. A woman with a powerful aura sneered. That was our Ancestral Hall's most glorious era. The entire universe was filled with bloody light. The experts of the burial region bloodline cried out one after another. They were crushed in despair. They recounted the glorious events of the Ancestral Hall one after another. This was a glory built on blood and bones. Suyin felt like a knife was being twisted in his heart. He wanted nothing more than to make a move right now and sacrifice these people alive. There are energy fluctuations. An Ancestral Hall elder with a terrifying aura suddenly opened his eyes. He steered the blood-colored battleship and headed towards the source of the energy. With the speed of this battleship, it could easily cross 10,000 li of territory. Soon, he saw corpses and bones along the way. The ground was covered in blood. There were also Ancestral Hall knights who were still alive. They were howling in pain, their bodies riddled with holes. Their life auras were about to be cut off. A group of people had died here. A mountain range was shattered, and there were still terrifying energy fluctuations left behind. B** starred. A remnant of the burial region bloodline actually dares to kill the knights of our Ancestral Hall. He can't escape even if he grows wings. Who gave him the courage? Zhu Sheng and the others were furious. They followed the battle fluctuations and searched for the traces of the experts of the burial region bloodline. The blood-colored battleship crossed one territory after another. Soon, they locked onto the direction of the battle again. This was a great canyon riddled with holes. Energy fluctuations surged out. A large group of Ancestral Hall knights cried out miserably. They were surrounding and hunting a person. It was an old cultivator with an aged appearance. His clothes were dyed red with blood, some of it belonging to the enemy, some of it belonging to himself. His aura was extremely weak, like an old lion that was about to run out of energy. However, once this old cultivator was angered, he was also terrifying. His blood-dyed clothes fluttered in the wind, and his entire body rippled with overflowing killing light. A blood-dyed, withered palm struck out, killing a group of Ancestral Hall knights. Even the great Dao realm experts were struck until their bodies trembled. However, the battle prowess of these two great Dao realm experts wasn't weak. They brought out defensive treasures, barely blocking the vicious might of the old man's dying counterattack. They laughed angrily, saying, "How much longer can you hold on for? Even if you were a divine king, you should be exhausted by now. Old thing, it's time for you to return to ashes, dust to dust." They rushed up, their expressions cold. They erupted with great battle prowess, attacking the staggering old man. The old man didn't fear death. There was a type of matchless aura about him, standing tall on the great earth. His figure was tall and large, inexplicably making one tremble. The old man's might was terrifying, the killing intent in his body like a heavenly blade, surging with a terrifying spiritual will. He would rather break than bend. After killing so many pieces of trash, being able to let you two dogs accompany me in death is indeed a disgrace to my reputation, but it can be considered worth it. The old man replied, his voice extremely calm. Old evil creature. The two Ancestral Hall experts flew into a rage, their eyes turning red. They said coldly, "You still dare to be so stubborn even when death is at hand. To tell you the truth, the child that you old bastards have always wanted to protect has already been found by us. We will be able to capture him very soon." The old man didn't say a word. His body was like a war spear, his battle intent overflowing into the sky. His confidence wouldn't be shaken easily. He felt that little muddle, who had broken out from the back progenitor, would definitely become a powerful warrior in the future. Boom! At this moment, the blood-colored warship had already crossed over. Su Yin looked at the old cultivator, his chest rising and falling intensely. Over 100 years had passed, but Su Yin still couldn't forget his heroic bearing. Chapter 387. Zhu Shun and the other two rushed out of the ship as it stopped in the air. Now, the 5 experts were gathered here, looking at Su Dalong with cold eyes. Then they laughed at the sky. They didn't expect him to be such a big fish. Su Dalong was one of the leaders of the burial region. Back then, he had personally escorted little Miss Muddle to the Big Dipper starfield. This was also the big fish that Zhu Yang wanted to dig out. He wanted to know where the child he had sent away was. All these years, the Ancestral Hall had been looking for him. Even the ancient ancestor wanted to pry open Su Dalong's mouth and dig out Su Yan's whereabouts. I didn't expect that after 100 years, we've finally found you. Zhu Shun laughed angrily. You're really good at hiding. My race has been looking for you for 100 years. Ha ha ha, we finally found you. The 5 experts recovered one after another. The light of the great Tao shot out and sealed the sky. Killing intent surged in their bodies as they stood in all directions, completely cutting off Su Dalong's path of retreat. Even in the face of such an earth-shattering situation, Su Dalong did not frown. Even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him, he would not bend his spine. He said heroically, "Bastards, if you want to kill your grandfather, you have to pay a price. The 5 of you are just right. You can be buried with me." Zhu Shun and the other experts looked cold. Zhu Shun laughed. "You're already like this. How can you fight? My race doesn't want to kill you or take your life. As long as you're willing to cooperate, we can talk about anything. What's the point of saying such nonsense?" Su Dalong was a tough person. He had been through countless storms of blood for a long time. Although his body was riddled with holes, he had never admitted defeat. "Don't you want to see what happened to the little bastard you sent away back then? To be honest, I don't want you to die. I want you to see with your own eyes that the price you paid back then was just a piece of meat in the Ancestral Hall's mouth. Because of your appearance, the Ancestral Hall can confirm that Su Yin is that special child back then." The 5 experts said coldly. Although they didn't know what was so special about Su Yin, a child that the ancient ancestor was concerned about meant that Su Yin was no ordinary person. He was a special member of the burial region bloodline. Ha ha ha! Su Dalong's white hair danced in the wind as his murderous aura soared into the sky. His aura was heroic and domineering. "Of course, I don't know whose child he is, but I heard that your Ancestral Hall's 5 have died in battle." Shut up. The 5 great experts were furious. This matter was indeed a great humiliation for the Ancestral Hall. Even the ancient ancestors were furious. The prey they had always been hunting actually rebelled, slaughtering 5 great experts from the Ancestral Hall. TT. Although the death of the 5 wasn't serious enough to hurt the Ancestral Hall, it was still a humiliation to the Ancestral Hall's dignity. "You still have a nerve to mention this to me." Su Dalong's old face burst into a smile, as if he were a few years younger. He laughed and said, "You sent an army and 2 Vice Hall Masters, but you couldn't even catch a junior of my clan. How ridiculous! You've infuriated us. Aren't you afraid of dying without a burial ground?" Zhu Shun growled. "What's there to say about the burial region bloodline? Almost all of the younger generation died in battle, and almost all of the older generation died as well. Although there are still some fish that escaped the net and some rising stars in your clan, why don't you open your eyes and take a look at who the world belongs to? Winner takes all. That's the truth since ancient times." Another person said coldly, "The burial region bloodline has already lost. Even if my clan gave you more time, how many outstanding people could you nurture? This era has already reached its end, and the time for the younger generation to rise has arrived. Our clan has always been strong, and so have the other major powers. Unfortunately, when it comes to the future of a younger generation, I don't see any shadow of your bloodline in the burial region. I don't think you should die in battle. You should live on and witness the glory and prosperity of our clan in the future. It's also time for you to wake up. It was a stupid decision to pay such a huge price to send a junior away. The burial region bloodline's destiny has run out, and there's no way to reverse the situation. You should see the glory of our younger generation in the future. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the burial region bloodline anymore. Stupid and ignorant things. Those who survive are just a bunch of stray dogs with no home to return to. Your bloodline might as well commit suicide. Any resistance is a joke to my clan. The 5 experts' expressions were cold. They didn't think the burial region bloodline had any hope. Su Yin stood in the battleship, staring at Su Long. He didn't act rashly. He had to make his move at the right time. After all, these were 5 experts. If the dragon totem really erupted, he wouldn't be able to control it. It would definitely threaten Su Long's life. Su Yin looked at Su Long's silent face. He was an unyielding warrior. No matter how bloody or cruel it was, he wouldn't frown. He would puff out his chest and kill his way through. However, he felt pain in his heart. He felt that he hadn't given little Miss Muddle and the other children a good chance to grow up. He hadn't given them a complete childhood. He felt that if the children of his clan could grow up, the future of the younger generation would be glorious. They wouldn't be inferior to the heavens' prides of any peak faction. Haha, why aren't you talking? Did I poke your sore spot? Zhu Shun sneered. You're admitting defeat to reality. Don't talk nonsense. I think we should just suppress him and take him away to prevent him from doing anything extreme. The 5 experts' eyes turned cold. They realized that Su Long's emotions were surging. His condition wasn't right. They recovered in an instant. Their auras were extremely terrifying. They sealed the sky and earth, but they used their divine abilities to attack Su Long. It was as if heaven and earth were being split apart. The 5 experts were too astonishing. They recovered to their strongest state and pounced on Su Long. They wanted to suppress him and not kill him. After all, there wasn't much meaning in killing him. They wouldn't get the clues they wanted. Buzz. Just as they pounced on Su Long, the old man's aura was completely different. He was no longer gloomy and sorrowful. He was very terrifying. It was as if a demon god was awakening. His robes fluttered loudly, revealing a terrifying source of energy. Not good, he's self-detonating. The 5 experts' expressions changed drastically. How much courage and willpower did this require? Even when an expert was about to be killed, it was difficult for them to summon the courage to self-detonate. That was because they all had a trace of hope. Just as the 5 experts lost control of their minds and even had the thought of retreating, the blood-red battleship suspended in the sky suddenly exploded. A terrifying shockwave spread out, causing Zhu Sheng to spit out a mouthful of blood. He didn't even see who it was before he fainted and almost shattered. Who? Zhu Shun and the other experts' expressions changed drastically. They saw the battleship explode. A shadow rushed out, wearing bronze armor and releasing the sky-shattering, killing intent. Xia Kunlun, what are you doing? The faces of the 5 experts were gloomy. The sudden outburst of this almighty disciple could not be related to Su Dalong, right? However, Su Dalong, who was about to self-detonate, was shocked. He looked at Xia Kunlun. It was as if thunder had exploded in his heart. He said in surprise, Force armor. This is the complete force armor of my race. Grandpa Dalong, stop. Su Yin let out a low growl, his black hair dancing in the wind. He charged forward with his force armor, which had already recovered its divine power. Once it was activated, it would be quite terrifying. Su Yin was like a bronze god of war awakening. What? Zhu Shun and the other experts' expressions were distorted. They had lost control. Xia Kunlun called him Grandpa Dalong. Could it be that Xia Kunlun was a rising star of the burial region? Zhu Shun and the others' eyes were about to split open. They had allowed a rising star of the burial region to sneak into Purple Sun Taoist, right, and even be given a place to cultivate. If news of this spread, the ancient ancestor would be furious and cut off their heads. Su Dalong was still vigilant, because someone had pretended to be a member of the burial region to cheat his trust. Fortunately, he saw through it at the crucial moment. Dong! Su Yan's eruption was too sudden. In an instant, he had already crossed the space and charged over like a god of war. His fist spewed out a terrifying light, shattering the space and causing an expert from the ancestral hall to fly out on the spot. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood, and his body was torn into pieces. "Bastard, kill him for me!" Zhu Shun and the other experts were seething with anger. Just as they were about to rush over, 2 of the 4 experts were gone. This was because when they pounced on Su Dalong just now, Su Yin had secretly activated the 9 extreme array and locked down a part of the world. The 2 experts disappeared, enveloped by the 9 extreme formation. Rumble! Surging killing light gushed out like a vast ocean. The force armor was of great help to Su Yin. He was like a great Dao realm expert erupting with power here. Although he lacked the power of the great Dao, at the moment of awakening, the terrifying energy source caused everything within a radius of 10,000 miles to tremble. Roar! Su Yin roared. His left hand formed the solar fist, and his right hand formed the Big Dipper fist. 2 near-invincible fist techniques surged out. For a time, the sun and moon were aligned, and the universe was reversed. Everything became blurry, and it began to sink in the midst of destruction. Big Dipper fist, you are Su Yin. Zhu Shun looked like he had seen a ghost. He pointed at Xia Kunlun, unable to say a word. Xia Kunlun was actually Su Yin. The 2 of them had goosebumps all over their bodies. How could this be possible? How could he possibly be Su Yin? He had even disguised himself as the successor of a mighty figure and snuck into the Purple Sun Dojo. What kind of humiliation was this? It caused their eyes to almost pop out of their sockets, and blood was even flowing out from the corners of their eyes. How could Su Yan's strength be so strong? His domain was close to the peak of the great Dao realm. His divine power was too terrifying. It could even evaporate the ocean and burn the sky. Su Dalong trembled all over, and his eyes widened in disbelief. Little Muddlehead, Su Dalong was still in disbelief. He felt that this might be a trap. After all, this was too surreal. He already knew that Su Yin had returned from the back progenitor to the vast cultivation world. However, now that they had met here, Su Dalong felt that this was a dream. Perhaps this was a trap. He had experienced it before. For this, the Ancestral Hall had even sacrificed the lives of a few experts. Chapter 388. Boom! The canyon cracked open as Su Yin charged forward in his bronze armor, blocking Zhu Shun and the 2 Ancestral Hall experts. "Grandpa DeLong, it's me. I'm Little Muddlehead." Su Yan's eyes were red as he looked at the dazed, terrified, and even agitated Su Dalong. However, he was hesitant. He had been deceived before and felt that this was a trap set by the Ancestral Hall to bait him. "Little Muddlehead." Hearing these 3 words, Su Dalong was agitated, his chest heaving up and down. The Ancestral Hall probably didn't know that this was Su Yan's nickname when he was a child. "Child, it's really you." Su Dalong clenched his fists in front of Dali. He still had some doubts and couldn't immediately believe that this was Su Yin. The moment Su Yan's bloodline power surged, Su Dalong's almost dried up ancestral blood began to boil and hum. This was the bloodline between the clansmen, a type of resonance between them, resonating in this place. Su Dalong's eyes were brimming with tears as he roared into the sky like a madman. Back then, they had killed an endless path of blood. Many of their old brothers were bathed in blood, but in the end, this child had returned. He even appeared in front of him in a shocking manner. Although Su Yin had borrowed the power of the force armor, Su Dalong could clearly feel the vigorous life essence blood in Su Yan's body. He was like a little true dragon, which made Su Dalong laugh. "Good child, you're finally back. Even if you're back, you'll still die." Zhu Shun and Su Dalong had recovered to the extreme and brought out their killer weapons. Their eyes were filled with malevolence and madness. Su Yin actually dared to come here. If they could capture him alive, it would be a terrifying contribution. A child who could make the Ancestral Hall's ancestors remember was definitely extraordinary. As long as they could capture him alive, their contribution would be monstrous. Be careful. Su Dalong's eyes were filled with crazed killing intent. He was like an old lion protecting its cub. His injuries were erupting. Because of his agitation, Su Dalong felt as if he had returned to his youth, to his prime. He charged forward in an abnormally terrifying manner. His eyes were overflowing with killing intent, revealing a spiritual will that could cut through everything as he charged forward courageously. What demons, what gods, what heavens? All of them had to bow down at his feet. No difficulty could stop Su Dalong's iron will. Grandpa Dalong. Su Yan's emotions were in turmoil as he stared at Su Dalong. Su Dalong's entire body was emitting a frenzied, killing intent. This was a terrifying essence, chi, and spirit. This was his reverse scale. If anyone dared to touch it, everything would be shattered. Zhu Shun was trembling. Su Dalong was a terrifying existence. Even Zhu Yang was almost sacrificed by him. Now, under Su Dalong's crazed gaze, all of them had goosebumps and a chill ran down their spines. Without a doubt, little Miss Muddle's appearance caused Su Dalong to feel as if he'd lived a second life, and he let out terrifying roars that shattered the sky one after another. Even though his injuries were severe, his flesh riddled with holes, his tall figure was filled with an unrivaled aura. With a loud roar, his tongue fought against the sound of thunder, shaking Zhu Shun and the other two great experts until their bodies trembled. Kill! He released his most invincible essence, chi, and spirit. He raised his fist and smashed down. A living, true dragon drilled out, drowning out everything and piercing through everything. Zhu Shun and the other two great experts trembled and coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. They were blasted away by Su Dalong's fists like kites with broken strings and were on the verge of fainting. Su Dalong was like a demon lord who had crossed through time and space to kill these two great experts. However, his injuries were too severe. After using martial arts just now, there were even more cracks on his body. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood and staggered to the ground. Grandpa Dalong, leave them to me. You mustn't act rashly. Su Yan's expression changed greatly. He rushed forward, clad in bronze battle armor. His body was blazing like the sun. He brandished his fist, and this fist stirred up a turbulent storm. It was as if a grain of sand was rapidly enlarging and turning into a great cosmic star. This wasn't just one. Great cosmic stars rose behind Su Yan one after another. The moment the 7 great cosmic stars appeared, Su Yan seemed to have opened up a Big Dipper star domain. The moment they condensed, they drilled into Su Yan's body, causing his precious body to surge with heaven overflowing radiance. Dong! This fist smashed down, carrying with it the terrifying aura of the heavens. It was iron-blooded and domineering. This is the Big Dipper fist. Su Dalong coughed out blood. His aura was extremely weak, but his eyes were full of excitement. He looked at Su Yan and couldn't help but shed tears. This was the rising star of their burial region's bloodline, the most fresh blood. They had always longed for the burial region's younger generation to rise up. After all, they were already old and couldn't hold on for much longer. Even the passage of time could refine them to death. But now it was different. A child who was valued by the old chief had returned from the back progenitor. This caused Su Dalong to roar. Old brothers, take a look. Little Miss Muddle has returned. The effort we spent back then wasn't in vain. It wasn't in vain. Bastard, what kind of battle armor is this? How could there be such a powerful spatial secret armor? Zhu Shun and the other two experts coughed up large mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were constantly cracking. Su Yan's counterattack just now had seriously injured them. Now, with the most tyrannical power, Su Yan had smashed their bones into pieces. Kill! Su Yan roared. Borrowing the inexhaustible divine energy of the spatial secret armor, he brought out the blood-colored halberd. His other hand evolved into a solar fist. Behind him, it was as if a sun was rumbling, revealing a terrifying divine energy that could evaporate an ocean. Although Su Yan hadn't comprehended a great Tao, the force armor was still quite shocking. The moment the solar fist erupted, Zhu Shun and the other two experts trembled. Their blood essence dried up, and their bodies were about to explode into ashes. No! One of them was split apart by Su Yan's blood-colored halberd, torn in two. Blood flowed all over the ground. "You little bastard!" Zhu Shun roared madly. "Someone come quickly! I found number 5. I found number 5. But no matter how loud Zhu Shun's roars were, they couldn't be transmitted out. This was because Su Yan had completely sealed this region. He had brought out many great formations, completely isolating this region from the outside world. This was to prevent more experts from the Ancestral Hall from coming here. "Go find your mother, you old dog. I'll let you scream." Su Yan punched out, causing Zhu Shun to scream miserably. His hair was disheveled, and blood foam spurted out of his pores. His injuries were too severe. In the state of force armor, Su Yan could be called a powerful overlord of the universe. The fluctuations he emitted made Zhu Shun despair. Su Yan punched Zhu Shun again and again. He was iron-blooded and tyrannical. Every punch used the extreme yang fist to bombard Zhu Shun's body, causing the blood and qi in his body to continuously dry up. Due to the decline of his life force, his entire body was rapidly aging. "Bastard, you won't have a good ending. How can the Ancestral Hall spare you?" Zhu Shun roared with grief and anger. "You're just relying on a supreme treasure. In front of the young supreme of my race, you're just an ant. So what if he's a young supreme? Sooner or later, I'll chop him into pieces." Su Yan replied, stomping Zhu Shun under his foot and cracking his chest. Zhu Shun said painfully, "Wishful thinking. In front of this universe, you have no hope of rising up. In the future, you'll just be the target of the young generation of my race. Countless years have passed. Has it ever changed?" "Not at all," Zhu Shun shouted crazily. "Why can't it change?" Su Yan asked back. "Do you think the Ancestral Hall will feel the pain when I break into the Purple Sun Taoist sect and cripple the elites of your race?" Zhu Shun's eyes were bloodshot. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He was frightened by Su Yan's words. Who would dare to break into the core area of the Ancestral Hall, the Purple Sun Taoist sect? Even the death of Servant was a big deal. If the entire Purple Sun Taoist sect was massacred, the loss to the Ancestral Hall was far less than the loss of dignity. Bam! Su Yan's foot stomped down fiercely, crushing Zhu Shun into a pile of flesh and blood. Then, he charged into the 9 Extremes formation and took out his blood-colored halberd. This 9 Extremes formation was extremely powerful. It was the Shui family's most precious treasure. Su Yan used a large number of divine materials as his foundation to activate the 9 Extremes formation to its strongest state. The entire space of the 9 Extremes formation was filled with endless lightning. Ghosts wept and gods wept. Su Yan had experienced it before. How could he not know how powerful the 9 Extremes formation was? This 9 Extremes formation had been activated to its strongest state. It had some hope of killing a great Dao Realm expert. Of course, it was impossible to kill the two of them now. However, if he could suppress them, Su Yan was confident that he could kill them. "Xia Kunlun, you'll die a horrible death. Number 5, you won't be able to escape from the Ancestral Hall's palm. Don't think that you can disguise yourself as Xia Kunlun forever. You're just a coward in a shell." These two Ancestral Hall experts were infuriated. A few days ago, they had commented on Su Yan and even made the decision to let Su Yan enter the dojo to cultivate in seclusion. They had even paid a price to rope in Xia Kunlun. However, Xia Kunlun was actually Su Yan. He was the number 5 they had been searching for all this time. This truth was hard for them to accept. Flames of fury burned in their hearts as they shouted hysterically, "You're just trash. You're about to die, yet you're still spouting nonsense here." Su Yan's expression was cold. He controlled the 9 Extremes formation and waved his blood-colored halberd. Killing light filled the entire space of the 9 Extremes formation. The two experts were drowned by lightning. They cried out in pain as their bodies shattered one after another. During this process, Su Yan discovered that the force armor's consumption was astonishing. A lot of the divine energy contained within had been depleted. Su Yan had spent a large amount of money to use these divine materials, and they were densely packed with wear and tear. Even the Nine Extremes formation used divine materials as its energy source. However, it was starting to weaken now. Suyin broke out in cold sweat. Fortunately, Grandpa Dalong had severely injured Zhu Shun and the other two experts earlier. Otherwise, it would be dangerous. Great Dao Realm experts weren't made of paper. If it weren't for the Force Armor and the Nine Extremes formation, how could he have completed this? Bang! Su Yin waved his palm and shattered their bodies. Chapter 389. The Nine Extremes formation dimmed, and the 9 formation flags even showed signs of shattering. After all, this set of formation flags had blocked the counterattacks of the 2 great Dao Realm experts and didn't explode. This was already considered a super killing weapon in the formation path. Su Yin kept the 9 Extremes formation and took away the treasures on their bodies. Cough, cough. Su Dalong was extremely weak. He coughed violently, and more cracks appeared on his body. He was on the verge of death. Grandpa Dalong. Su Yin charged over. He opened up a spatial treasure, and layers of the Big Dipper ancestral veins essence poured down. This was the vast energy of the great Dao Dragon Vein, and it had miraculous effects on healing injuries. Millions of wisps of great Dao essence entered Su Dalong's body that was about to shatter. Child, you don't have to do this. Su Dalong was very agitated. Although his injuries were severe and his body was about to collapse, a gratified smile appeared on his face. He said weakly, "It's just a small injury. I didn't expect to see you again." Ha ha ha. He was laughing loudly, and his eyes were filled with anticipation and agitation. He had once imagined the scene of Su Yin being reborn, but he had waited for 100 years. Su Dalong thought that something had happened to Su Yin. He didn't expect to reunite under such circumstances. Those few Great Dao Realm experts earlier were all Great Dao Realm experts, but they were still killed by Su Yin. Although he had borrowed external power, this was also Su Yin's power. This was enough to make Su Dalong feel proud. Grandpa Dalong, nothing must happen to you. Su Yin was anxious and uneasy. He realized that Su Dalong's injuries were very difficult to heal. At this moment, he took a deep breath. Could he borrow the mysterious bone book's energy to heal Su Dalong? Buzz! Su Yan's hand shone, and his heart was as calm as water. He sat cross-legged before Su Dalong, and strange energy surged out from his palms. It wrapped around the ancestral veins essence that floated in the world and evolved the mysterious bone book's incomplete technique. This kind of abnormally magical energy surged out layer by layer, evolving into a power that could seize the world's creation and entered Su Dalong's remnant body. The result surprised Su Yin. He discovered that Su Dalong's remnant body had healed a little. The weak life force inside also started to become stronger, and the situation was much better than before. Su Dalong was very surprised. He sensed the changes in the human body and said in astonishment, "Could it be that the lost secret technique of my race was passed down in the later progenitor?" Su Dalong's words were like a clap of thunder that resounded in Su Yan's heart. Su Yan's eyes widened and a trace of ferocious light flashed in his eyes. He said in a deep voice, "Grandpa Dalong, what kind of secret technique is this? Is it a secret technique of the burial realm? Didn't you get it from the post-progenitor?" Su Dalong was astonished. Su Yin transmitted the mystic technique of the mysterious bone book into Su Dalong's essence spirit. It was a complex Dao diagram, but with Su Dalong's cultivation, it was too easy for him to comprehend it. Soon, he sat down and activated the essence of the ancestral vein. Layer after layer, he cleansed his damaged corporeal body. Most of the divine power that had been depleted in his body was instantly restored. His fatal injuries were also alleviated. However, he stopped and said, "It's indeed a secret technique of my tribe. I've heard the old chief mention it before. Grandpa Dalong, don't speak for now. Hurry up and heal your injuries." Su Yan's words caused Su Dalong to sigh. This secret technique is very mystical. Unfortunately, it's missing an important chapter and isn't of much help to me. However, it can still be used as a healing technique. Where did you get this secret technique from? Could be? Su Yin spoke the truth. He didn't conceal his encounter with the Cosmos Business Alliance. He was shocked. This secret technique belonged to the burial realm. So how could it be related to the Cosmos Business Alliance? These bastards are becoming more and more excessive. In the past, they hid the secret technique and didn't give it to you. Now that you've obtained the opening chapter, they actually dare to target you. Su Dalong's entire body surged with killing intent. It was terrifying, like the gates to hell. It caused Su Yan's hair to stand on end. It was like he was being stared at by a giant monster. How could Su Dalong, who had traversed the cosmos unhindered, who had experienced countless bloody storms and killed his way out of dangerous situations time and time again, be an ordinary person? He was a terrifying killing god who had experienced hundreds of battles and endless difficulties. Su Dalong was furious. The Cosmos Business Alliance was a business alliance under the Burial Realm bloodline in the distant past. This secret technique is called the Heaven Mending Technique. It's our race's supreme secret technique. What? Su Yan's expression changed greatly. He couldn't believe it. The Cosmos Business Alliance was a business alliance under the Burial Realm bloodline? Who would believe this if word got out? To be precise, it's a secret alliance. Su Dalong said coldly. I heard from the old leader that in the desolate era, when the Burial Realm bloodline encountered danger, the Cosmos Business Alliance was established. Many years have passed since then, but our race didn't use the secret alliance. However, it's better not to talk about it. Grandpa Dalong, their race's old ancestor must know about this, right? Su Yan said angrily. They still have the face to hunt me down. If it wasn't for Zixioning helping me back then, I'm afraid I would have been killed by them. Su Yan was furious. It was clearly their family's secret technique, but Su Yan said that he had secretly learned it and even wanted to steal the broken cauldron. This made Su Yan very angry. Child, there's no need to ask. Su Dalong rubbed Su Yan's head and laughed. If you lose it, then lose it. You can only be strong. Su Yan clenched his fists. Only by being strong would he have the right to speak. Child, 100 years have passed. Is the back progenitor still doing well? Su Dalong asked. Just as Su Yan was about to reply, he waved his hand and said, Don't say any more. This is our race's top secret. If you don't have to know, then don't know. The back progenitor cannot be exposed. This is our race's last pure land. If you don't have to disturb it, then don't disturb it. However, Su Dalong asked what kind of heaven art Su Yan was cultivating. He felt that Su Yan had reached the most critical moment and could comprehend the Tao at any time. He could not delay his future cultivation just because of the heaven art he was cultivating. The beginning scripture. Su Dalong was shocked. He obtained the beginning scripture. It's true. The mother scripture is hidden in the back progenitor. Su Yan suddenly felt that the reason he could obtain the complete beginning scripture might not be because of his bloodline. Perhaps every member of the burial region had the right to obtain the mother scripture. He felt that the reason he could obtain it was because the earth's origin power had awakened, allowing Su Yan to obtain this scripture. Grandpa Dalong, the ancestral palace has been chasing after us all this time. Is it because they want to obtain the mother scripture? Su Yan asked. That's not the case. Their ultimate goal is the back progenitor. Su Dalong said solemnly. It's a little difficult for me to choose. It's your opportunity to cultivate the mother scripture, but this scripture isn't that important now. Could it be that the mother scripture isn't strong enough? Su Yan was shocked. That's not the case. You were able to cultivate the mother scripture because of the environment of the back progenitor. However, if you want to cultivate the mother scripture, it's related to this universe. Su Dalong said with certainty. I heard from the old leader that it's extremely difficult to cultivate the mother scripture because the environment of this universe has changed. Only the back progenitor still retains the environment from back then. The strongest realm of the mother scripture is the great Tao realm. Su Dalong was very hesitant. He felt that Su Yan would encounter a very terrifying predicament when he broke through to the great Tao realm. This was because the universe's environment had changed. It was different from the desolate era. The things involved were very terrifying. Even Su Dalong couldn't explain it clearly. Could it be that my cultivation in the future will encounter great resistance? Su Yin frowned. In the past, a terrifying living being walked out of our burial region lineage. He improved the initial scripture and specialized in cultivating the physical body domain. Su Dalong continued, "This path is feasible in the current environment, but child, the initial scripture that you've obtained is definitely the complete version. It originated from the heavenly technique passed down by our ancestors. I don't know what kind of resistance you'll encounter in the future." He was very worried and frowned. Su Yin was shocked. The initial scripture that Su Yin had obtained in the physical body domain was engraved on the heavenly coffin. "Grandpa Dalong, I have this scripture too," Su Yin said. "And the goal of the ancestral hall is, don't say any more." Su Dalong's tone was stern as he said, "This is our clan's secret. The fewer people who know about it, the less likely it will be leaked. There are some things that Grandpa wants to know, but you can't know." Su Dalong minded it very much and even feared it. Some things had happened in the past that made it difficult for Su Dalong to walk out. He also didn't want to know about the secrets of the progenitor. That was the supreme, pure land in their hearts. Cough! Su Dalong coughed violently again. His injuries were too serious. If it wasn't for the incomplete heaven patching technique that made his injuries better, he wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. "Grandpa Dalong, let's hurry up and leave." Su Yan's eyes were red. He had killed so many experts. With these resources, he could definitely get a holy medicine. If he really couldn't, he could go find Zi Xioning. With Zi Xioning's ability, she should be able to help Su Yin get the holy medicine. "Child, don't worry." Su Dalong's face was full of smiles. He patted Su Yan's shoulder and said, "This body of mine is not my original body. If it's damaged, then it's damaged. It doesn't matter." External incarnation? Su Yin was astonished. "You can say that." Su Dalong laughed and said, "This time, the people of the ancestral hall were tricked by me. I also received news about you, so I released my aura and let the ancestral hall set their eyes on me. As for my original body, it's hidden in an absolutely safe place." "Ha! If you didn't come in time, the people of the ancestral hall would have turned green." Su Dalong said proudly, "They want to catch me? How could it be so easy? If I didn't release my aura, these bastards wouldn't have been able to find me." At this time, a trace of killing intent flashed in Su Dalong's eyes. His gaze fell on the broken battleship area. Zhu Sheng showed signs of waking up. He said, "This little wolf is about to wake up." Hearing this, Su Yin originally wanted to kill Zhu Sheng. However, he hesitated and quickly communicated with Su Dalong. Su Dalong was shocked. "Purple Sun Dojo, the imprint of an almighty. That's right, I want to go back. That old bastard Zhu Yang is still alive. Maybe I can kill him." Although it was very risky, Su Yin wanted to try. Maybe he could dig out the resources of the top dojos. This was what he urgently needed. Su Yin thought that he might be able to get a batch of limited quality. It's worth a try. The Ancestral Hall and the other factions have controlled the limited resources. It's too difficult to dig out resources in the universe. Chapter 390. Su Dalong began to use the heaven mending technique to recover. Even though the heaven mending technique was damaged, it still had a certain miraculous effect on healing injuries. The main reason was because Su Dalong's cultivation realm was too high. If it was Su Yin, it would be more than enough to heal injuries. As he breathed in and out, it was as if an immortal furnace was shining. Close to 10,000 gene of heavenly essence stone was extracted by Su Dalong into the flesh shell. Even though this wasn't Su Dalong's main body, it could still allow this body to recover some of its losses. His ruined body quickly began to burn fiercely, rippling with terrifying destructive energy. It was as if a giant left this region riddled with holes, making heaven and earth tremble. He crossed towards the limits of the horizon. So painful! Zhu Sheng clutched his head, painfully opening his eyes. He was dizzy, a splitting headache coming on. He was bewildered for a moment, and then he immediately became vigilant, activating a body-protecting treasure. This was because Su Dalong's aura made Zhu Sheng shiver inwardly. It was to the extent where, in his memories, there were experts fighting just now. It was extremely terrifying, an expert from Ancestral Palace falling. Brother Kunlun, what happened to you? Who did this? Zhu Sheng looked around and was instantly shocked. He saw that Xia Kunlun was severely injured and his entire body was covered in blood. However, his body was filled with the power of the dragon totem that supported this part of the world and protected him. You're too weak. Xia Kunlun opened his eyes, looked at him, and said weakly, even you were knocked unconscious. If it weren't for my senior brother's imprint awakening and sealing this place, we would have all lost our lives. It was too dangerous. The strength of the experts of the burial region is beyond my imagination. Zhu Sheng frantically tried to recall. Even though his memories were a bit blurry, when experts fought, Xia Kunlun was almost blasted to death. However, at the crucial moment, his body awakened the imprint, protecting him and even suppressing Zhu Sheng, preventing him from dying. Without a doubt, this was Su Dalong's doing. With his cultivation, interfering with Zhu Sheng's soul memories was just too easy. Punk. Suddenly, at the limits of the horizon, energy ripples that stirred up the heavens surged, sweeping through tens of thousands of li of rivers and mountains. Su Dalong was awakening, erupting with his most powerful state. He took action to pick up the expert overseeing this place, smashing him into a pile of ashes. It's him, an expert from the burial region. Zhu Sheng's eyes turned red, and he lost control. Elder Zhu Sheng died in battle. Ah, this old thing actually killed so many of our Ancestral Hall's experts. Even I almost died in his hands. The aura emitted by Su Dalong was unusually turbulent, immediately attracting the attention of the experts who were searching for him in the distance. Here, they crossed over one after another, holding great killing weapons in their hands. Su Dalong was prepared to stay here and restrain the people of the Ancestral Hall. He might even draw out more experts from the Purple Sun Daoist Rite, so that he could buy precious time for Su Yin. What's going on? The experts of the Ancestral Hall rushed over. Their faces were ugly because they saw many corpses. They were all experts of the Ancestral Hall. This scene infuriated them. Their eyes were red as they rushed towards Zhu Sheng and said angrily, "What happened just now? Wasn't that old thing exhausted? Why do you still have the strength to resist?" Zhu Sheng immediately struck out the memories of his primordial spirit, allowing them to observe. The expert from the Ancestral Hall flew into a rage. This old thing can really endure. Even now, he still has such battle strength. We must capture him. Zhu Sheng, go back immediately. This place is too dangerous. Go back to the Purple Sun Daoist grounds now and send more experts. I don't believe that this old thing can still kill his way out alive. Zhu Sheng, go back immediately. I need to rest. Xia Kunlun said weakly. My injuries are a bit serious. Go back quickly. My foundation has been damaged. You must protect little friend Xia. I will send knights to protect your safety. The experts from the Ancestral Hall were alarmed. It was too fierce just now. If it wasn't for the expert's imprint on Xia Kunlun's body, he and Zhu Sheng might have died here. Brother Kunlun, thank you for your help this time. Otherwise, my little life would have been hard to keep. Zhu Sheng shed tears of gratitude and hurriedly said, We will go back now, Brother Kunlun. Don't worry. After we suppress this old thing, we will definitely let you vent your anger. A battleship crossed over. The experts from the Ancestral Hall were worried that they would encounter an accident on the way, so they specially sent a team of cavalry to protect them. At the same time, their expressions were very serious. They originally thought that Su Dalong was exhausted, but they never expected that he had recovered some of his foundation. Swish! The battleship flew towards the outer region, towards the Purple Sun Daoist Rite. Inside the battleship, Su Yin sat cross-legged on the ground to recuperate. Just now, his physical body had been shattered, and although the situation looked serious, it was actually just some superficial wounds. Grandpa Dalong, how long can this body of yours last? Su Yin concealed his spirit and qi, but a part of Su Dalong's divine consciousness was dormant in his sea of consciousness. He let out a low voice. It shouldn't be more than 5 days. No matter what, we have to leave the Purple Sun Taoist right in 5 days. Su Yin was relieved. 5 days was enough for him. If he needed, he could do something big. Immediately, Su Yin suddenly remembered something and asked, "Oh right, Grandpa Dalong, what kind of treasure is this force armor?" Hearing this, Su Dalong laughed. "I almost forgot about the force armor. This is the secret space armor of the burial region. The force armor you have should be the worst." "What? The worst?" Su Yan's heart was filled with shock. The worst force armor? But he felt that the force armor was already strong enough. There are strong and weak force armors, and the bronze force armor is indeed the weakest. If you step into the Great Virtue Realm, it can increase your combat strength to the peak of the Great Virtue Realm. Su Yin couldn't help but be surprised. It was just a secret space armor, but it could allow one to cross so many minor realms. The effect of the force armor was really incredible, and its value was hard to measure. It was probably not inferior to a divine artifact. You can't unleash the strongest power of the force armor now. Su Yin nodded at Su Dalong's words. Although he could unleash the power of the force armor now, he hadn't comprehended the way. It was impossible for him to fight against a pinnacle universe master just because of the force armor. Su Dalong continued. Unfortunately, after a long time, the force armors we have are either lost or broken, and the forging method is also slowly lost. According to the old leader, during the prosperous era of the burial region, there were many force armors. They were strategic weapons. Su Dalong sighed. It takes a lot of resources to make a piece of armor, especially a high-grade force armor. It costs a lot of money. It's already amazing that you have this bronze force armor now. As long as you don't meet any Great Virtue Realm prodigies, you can basically stay alive. Su Dalong's voice appeared in Su Yan's sea of consciousness. However, the depletion of this thing is very shocking. Wait until we reach the Purple Sun Dojo. Let's see if we can dig out some precious treasure eyes, secret caves, and find some fortunes. Su Dalong's primordial spirit's remnant consciousness would disperse sooner or later. He was prepared to build Su Yan's foundation in the shortest time possible, laying an indestructible foundation. His eyes were filled with anticipation, and his blood was boiling. He wanted to see Su Yan grow up step by step, but he also didn't want to interfere too much with Su Yan's growth. Su Dalong felt that Su Yan's future path would definitely be extraordinary, and he needed to explore it himself. "Brother Kunlun, we're here." At that moment, the battleship stopped outside the Purple Sun Dojo. Su Yan opened his eyes. His face was pale, and he walked very slowly. He looked like he was seriously injured. What happened? In the Purple Sun Dojo, a few experts who were overseeing the place instantly sensed something and rushed out. They saw that Zhu Sheng was injured, and even Xia Kunlun was seriously injured. Zhu Sheng explained the cause and effect of the matter clearly, which immediately made the experts of the Ancestral Palace furious. The entire Purple Sun Dojo was filled with killing intent. Secret treasure vaults were opened, and a set of great killing weapons was pulled out. That old bastard from the burial realm actually rebelled. Even if we have to destroy that star field, we have to dig that old bastard out for me. He can't escape from our palms. He's already a cornered beast. One after another, experts with powerful auras woke up. Moreover, Zhu Liang's trusted subordinates who guarded him day and night came out. Now that Zhu Liang's injuries were much better, he didn't need them to protect him with all their might. Kill our way over. We have to capture that old bastard before the Vice Palace Master comes out of seclusion. If we can't dig him out, I'll bring my head to see you. A storm was brewing in the Purple Sun Dojo. They had dispatched troops to guard this place, and there were also experts holding killing weapons. They revived battleships one after another and began to cross the sea towards their destination. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. After this group of experts left, it was clear that the terrifying fluctuations that had been hibernating all over the Purple Sun Dojo were coming out in full force. Remember, don't be careless. I can faintly sense that there are still experts hibernating in the dark, overseeing this place. Su Dalong lowered his voice and spread out his thoughts. This is a top-notch dojo, after all, an important place of the Ancestral Palace. There are all kinds of precious resources here, and there are also seeds of the younger generation cultivating in seclusion here. The slightest bit of carelessness could be discovered. You have to be extremely careful. Su Yan's heart was vigilant. After all, he was an outsider, and his identity was still unknown to the ancestral palace. He would definitely be noticed. However, Zhu Sheng trusted Su Yan very much. He once again brought him to the cultivation dojo. There were dozens of palaces here, and all of the ancestral palace's younger generation disciples were here. Every one of them had hopes of becoming an expert. Zhu Sheng, I'll go into seclusion first. I need to recuperate for 3 to 5 days. Su Yan entered the palace. Zhu Sheng sent over a batch of resources for recuperation. He even said that if he needed anything, he could just ask. After all, his life was saved by Su Yan. Stepping into the palace, Su Yan sat cross-legged and silently absorbed the essence of heaven and earth. He refined the resources given to him by Zhu Sheng and slowly recuperated. Time passed. Su Yan's heart was as calm as still water. Just like that, until the latter half of the night, Su Dalong's dormant consciousness woke up. "All right, someone was watching you just now," Su Yan exclaimed in alarm. Su Dalong said, "There's a mountain guardian elder here who is very proficient in the great Tao of space. I'll first investigate this area before making any plans." Su Yan continued to wait. He also set up a large formation nearby to conceal his figure. After a while, Su Dalong's voice rang out. "It's a little troublesome. There are many great killing formations underground. The space is also engraved with formation marks. Once you touch it, the mountain guardian elder will definitely sense it." After all, this was an important area of the ancestral palace. The defense was very tight. If it weren't for the large number of experts chasing after Su Dalong, the defense would be much tighter. "Grandpa Dalong, can you see these great killing formations clearly?" Su Yan's eyes lit up as he asked. "Of course," Su Dalong said in a deep voice, "but I'm not proficient in the Tao of Array. I feel that we should leave this place and enter other areas to investigate. Perhaps we'll find something. The most important thing is whether or not we can kill Zhu Liang." Su Dalong's eyes flashed with killing intent. Zhu Liang had been in charge of chasing after the Ancestral Hall's experts for more than 100 years. When it came to killing experts from the Ancestral Hall, the first person Su Dalong wanted to eliminate was Zhu Liang.